This afternoon from Boston's Fenway Park, it's the final meeting of the year between the Astros and the Red Sox as Colin McHugh and company try to propel the Stros past last year's win total. Hi, everybody. Alan Ashby and Jeff Blum with you. Julio Morales will join us in a little while. The Astros going up against the Red Sox. The Red Sox started this series as the worst team in baseball or in the American League in runs per game. It hasn't looked that way. They've scored 22 runs, and Big Papi has had his say about the way things have gone.
Yeah, they've been feasting on Astros pitching. We saw it last night. Brad Peacock got off to a good start, but it was just a matter of time before these guys started to unload on them. There's 7 guys on the Red Sox rosters right now hitting over 300. But David Ortiz is that one guy that just seems to be tearing the cover off the ball. I think he's over 400 now, career against the Astros. 5 home runs, 2 of them coming last night. He's got 7 RBIs in this series with 6 hits and 13 at-bats. So he is a driving force for that Red Sox offense right now.
But the Astros this afternoon have Colin McHugh going to the mound. He's been really good since dealing with the blister and the avulsion that he's had on the finger. Last 3 starts, spectacular numbers.
Yeah, I think getting off the DL, it was big for him to take care of those issues with that finger, made those pitches a little more effective. You know he's got that heat around 92, 93 miles an hour. Does a good job of elevating, and he's got that quality off speed that makes him even more effective. Allows him to throw that fastball up in the zone and get some swing and miss type stuff when he has that slider and split finger working for him.
One more game at Fenway. One more shot to take down Big Papi and the defending world champs. Can Chris Carter and the Astros fight their way toward a series split and win number 52? Lineups and first pitch are straight ahead. Houston Astros baseball on Comcast Sportsnet is presented by Jack in the Box. Right now at Jack in the Box, try Jack's new Spicy Chicken Club Combo for only $4.99 plus tax.
between the Astros and the Red Sox, and the Astros trying to tie this series. Unfortunately, 7 runs wasn't enough for the Houston Astros last night. The offense doing its part. Chris Carter doing his part, as he has continued to do since July 1st. Last night he hit his 29th home run of the season. That's a big one for Chris Carter, as he matched his home run total from 2013 one season ago, and he said after a slow start to the season, I didn't think I was going to get 20. So feeling really good about where he is now. He obviously didn't set any milestones or goals for himself this year. Just wanted to see how many he could hit from the time he started really feeling good until the end of the season. 6 weeks left, guys.
Thanks a lot, Julia. And Chris Carter ought to feel good the way things have gone for him. And hard work is really paying off in that case. We are set for our first pitch here on the afternoon. Final meeting between these two clubs this year as Robbie Grossman takes a ball. Right-hander Joe Kelly on the hill, recently acquired by these Red Sox from the St. Louis Cardinals. Part of that Alan Craig, John Lackey deal. Also, minor league player Corey Luttrell involved. Pitch is lined down the left field side. And that's foul ball 1-1 now on Robbie Grossman. And now a look at the Astros starting lineup presented by Jack in the Box. And we will dash through it. Top of the order, Robbie Grossman, Jose Altuve, and Chris Carter. Middle 3, Dexter Fowler, John Singleton, and Carlos Corporon. In the bottom 3, Mark Krause gets the start. Matt Dominguez back at third, and Marwin Gonzalez at short. Red Sox have taken 2 of the first 3 here in the meeting. And now 1 and 2 on Robbie Grossman. Red Sox have taken 4 of 6 on the season series. Joe Kelly has made a couple of starts for the Red Sox. No win or loss in those starts, but he's pitched well. And now has a 2-2 count on Grossman. He's allowed only 8 hits in 13 innings. But he has also walked 7. Strike 3 called, bottom of the knees. Grossman caught looking, and out number 1.
If that called looking strike on Robbie Grossman, he was probably taking a couple pitches because, like you said, Ash, those walks are kind of high for Joe Kelly. He's only making his first career start against Houston today. First one here at Fenway also. He's made 2 relief appearances when he was with St. Louis against the Houston Astros. Threw an inning and a third. Gave up 2 hits, 2 strikeouts. Fastball, slider, curveball, changeup.
In his 3 years with the Cardinals, he went 17 and 14. ERA a good one at 3.19. Jose Altuve stands in, and first pitch fouled back. 96 miles an hour, so Kelly with a good arm.
They've got him averaging about 94 on that fastball.
Jose Altuve leading the major leagues at 335. Well, you can understand why the hits are down per innings. Good looking stuff. Again, 95 on the Heat. 0-2 on Altuve. Altuve continues to lead in batting average, in hits, in stolen bases. Caught stealing last night. The Astros had a 5-1 lead, a 6-3 lead get away last evening. Boston Red Sox have scored 22 runs in this 3-game series to this point. Line shot, and just out of the reach of the second baseman Holt. Solid base hit for Altuve. Jose was robbed by Pedroia last night. A line shot headed towards center.
4 days, 4 different positions for Brock Holt. Good swing by Altuve. Nice down on top of it. Barrels it up again. Just another knock for the league's leading hitter.
Well, he's something. He can take that same approach and hit it anywhere on the field. So a 1-out single brings up Chris Carter. Carter launched one last night, his 29th of the year, matching 2013 in terms of home runs. And Carter has been just spectacular since July 1st. Leading the major leagues in numerous categories. In his last 11 games, 7 homers, 15 RBIs. Ball and a strike on Chris. And back to that date, July 1st, leading the majors in home runs, 16 of them. Slugging percentage, OPS, and tied for first with David Ortiz in RBIs at 39. So that's keeping some very good company. The last Astros to hit 30 home runs in a season would be Lance Berkman and Carlos Lee. Both of those came in 2007. So that next long ball for Carter will be his 30th. Cloudy skies here this afternoon. Rain is in the forecast for later today. And the Astros hoping to be able to get through this game, get on a plane and head to New York. 2 balls and a strike. 1 out single by Altuve has him aboard. Ballpark will be packed in before it's all said and done.
Chris is only 2 home runs off the home run lead for the American League.
Bit of a hanger foul down the right side. That's a kind of a peek at the newer, quieter, shorter stroking Chris Carter right there.
Yeah, we saw it in this series. He's fending some balls off. Usually a punch out waiting to happen. Chris Carter was with that bat being in and out of the zone, but he's showing good patience. Sometimes you got to dial 911 every once in a while. And it's good to see he has that in the arsenal now.
It's that breaking ball, gets it very deep, and that says you're seeing the pitch. Hands are staying in a good hitting position. 2-2 hit sharply to third. Could be 2. Middlebrooks to Holt and on to Johnson. And the Red Sox turn the first double play of the afternoon. No runs, a hit. It's a scoreless game after a half an inning. Set here. Red Sox winners of the first 2, or 2 of the first 3 rather. Now the Red Sox lineup this afternoon. Brock Holt, he's at second base, as Blummer said, 4 different positions on the series, followed by Daniel Nava and David Ortiz. The middle 3, Yoenis Cespedes, Kelly Johnson, and Xander Bogaerts. And the bottom 3 in the order, third baseman Will Middlebrooks, followed by center fielder Jackie Bradley Jr. and Dan Butler does the catching for the first time in the series.
27-year-old Colin McHugh making his 19th start for the Houston Astros this season. He has allowed 1 run in each of his last 3 starts, posting a 1.40 ERA in that August 3 starts. Doing himself a great job. Got the win last time out against Minnesota back in Minute Maid Park, going 6 innings. Only struck out 3, but back-to-back games where he has not walked a batter. Getting that command back.
Colin would love to keep that going this afternoon as he misses on the first pitch. He's 1-0 with a 1.40 ERA over the last 3 starts. It's great stuff. With runners in scoring position over those 3 starts, they're just 1 for 17. And over 23 career starts in the major leagues, he's allowed only 1 first-inning home run. So it generally gets off to a good start, brings a little cutter in for a strike. It's 2-1. Colin brings it back to the plate, and the pitch is lined into left field. Brock Holt has an 11-game hitting streak with this base hit, and as we've talked about plenty, he's been tearing up Houston pitching.
Just saw Mark Krause out there in left field. That moves Robbie Grossman over to right field, but Dexter Fowler still in center field. Around the infield, Matt Dominguez back in the lineup at third base after a night off last night. Margot at short, Jose Altuve at second, of course. John Singleton at first, and it's a day game. That means Carlos Corporon's going to be doing the catching for Jason Castro.
Hit number 6 for Holt in this 4-game series. And I'll bring up right fielder Daniel Nava. And again on Holt, lifetime against the Astros, started play today hitting .429 as McHugh finds the outside edge at the knees.
You said Brock Holt was hitting what? Or
.429 Brock Holt lifetime against Houston.
This season he's only hitting .536.
Yep. Yeah, he's up that lifetime mark pretty thoroughly.
I said earlier in the pregame that there's 7 guys hitting over 300 on this roster right now for the Red Sox, but these are some of the hottest ones. And this is just this season. 320 for Big Papi, but taking advantage of it with 3 bombs. Pedroia's numbers off the charts. But Nava and Holt are absolutely having their way with Astros pitching. Like you said, on a season as a whole for the Boston Red Sox offense, really not much to speak of, but the times that we've seen him, it's been electric.
Oh, you know what? I got burned on that number on Holt. Sight I'm using on strike 3 here. Called on Nava. Had already flipped to their next series. So, yeah, thanks for the pickup.
Well, they're big numbers. They're hard to look at, but this right here is Colin McHugh's M.O. Punching guys out, doing a good job. Get a guy like Nava who's swinging the bat well, looking, you know it's a good pitch.
So out number 1 on the strikeout. Colin McHugh is very deceptive. A guy who strikes out 10 per 9 innings. Joined some very illustrious company with the Astros career-wise. David Ortiz at the plate. A couple of bombs last night for Ortiz. Numbers 400 and 401 as a member of the Red Sox. He had a 3 for 5 night overall. Also had a double mixed in as this fastball is blown by. Colin McHugh is just one of 3 pitchers in the bigs this year with 2 starts in which he struck out 9+ and didn't walk a man. The other 2 guys, pretty good names here. Clayton Kershaw and Johnny Cueto. Pitch fouled back by Ortiz.
I'm not even sure we've seen a check swing from anybody in the Boston Red Sox lineup in this series. There's some pretty healthy hacks against these Astro pitchers. Kind of gives a little more credit to what Dallas Keuchel did in that second game of the series.
Yeah, that's a great point. Dallas pitched very well. And now a 2-2 count on Big Papi. Papi's hit in 5 straight. He has 6 hits here in the series.
7 RBIs in 3 games.
Yeah. Woo. Well, of course, 6 last night didn't hurt that cause. Pitch is hit in the air. Left center field. It's Fowler. and he'll call off Kraus, make the catch. 2 down in the first inning. Yeah, Ortiz had 2 two-run home runs last night and a 2-run double. So with 2 down, it brings up Yoenis Cespedes. And I'll say again, this Red Sox lineup, which has not been good all season long, now with Cespedes in it, really looks good.
He's going to bring back memories of Manny Ramirez here. To me, he has the chance to be that kind of hitter here at Fenway Park. It's hard to believe he's only 2 for 14 in this series, because he's probably been hitting the ball the hardest out of most of these hitters in the lineup.
I would have to agree. He's just had the atom ball perfected.
Until he tried to knock down the Green Monster. That home run coming off of Dallas Keuchel in that second game of the series.
Had a hitting streak snapped in game 1 of the series as he went 0 for 5. But that was the night that he hit 3 balls right on the money. McHugh looks sharp. Spotting that fastball well. He'll bring the heat in the low 90s, but he'll throw it right over bats. And that's one of the reasons. Good off-speed stuff. Mixes the pitches well. And I have to believe there must be some deception there for Colin McHugh.
Yeah, I agree, to have those strikeout numbers, because you look at the scouting reports and you look at the stat sheets on velocities and pitches that he has, and nothing really jumps at you. Doesn't really throw a changeup. He's just fastball, curveball, a little bit of a slider.
Yep.
But we have seen him be successful up in the zone, amazingly enough.
Mentioned that Colin McHugh has had a couple of 9+ strikeout games without walking a man this year. In Astros lore, only 2 others have done it. Roy Oswalt 2004, Bob Bruce back in 1964.
Heard of that Roy guy.
He was pretty good. Runner goes. The pitch hit on the ground is short. To his right is Marwin. He'll make the play. And that'll do it for the Red Sox in the first inning. So Colin McHugh is sharp.
The Red Sox. Time for you to tweet your photos using hashtag CSNHFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. That is brought to you by AT&T. Bo Porter spoke with John Singleton, his first baseman, at length a couple of days ago, trying to get him to just have a strong finish. He's been really struggling with some things at the plate lately, and he used Big Papi as an example in that conversation. And then turns out last night, Big Papi did some things at the plate that were exactly what Bo was trying to get John Singleton to do. And after the game, John pretty much said, well, I understand what you were saying, Bo. I definitely saw it last night using the whole field. There's a lot of things that these players can take from David Ortiz and all of his experience and the adjustments that he makes, not just each at bat, but pitch by pitch, guys.
Thanks, Julia, and it's a great point. Ortiz had a home run to center, a home run to right, and a double to left center field last night. So he's an ideal guy to watch for that power hitting type player, and that's who John Singleton figures to be. Dexter Fowler leads it off. He's the cleanup man.
And I don't want this to sound negative, but that's something he's not going to get in the Astros clubhouse right now. There's not that veteran presence that's been around.
As Fowler lines one into center field, solid base hit to start the second.
You know, it's incredible to me that David Ortiz took it upon himself to go out there and talk to John Singleton. I think it's a credit to his person, his personality, but you know, that's not something John's going to get in that Astros clubhouse. They're a young group of guys going out there grinding away, trying to figure out things on their own. So it's nice to see that he's getting some input from other guys around the league, especially a guy as successful as David Ortiz.
Yeah, it's a very good point. And it is nice when you can run into a David Ortiz who shares that with other players.
Yeah, I don't mean that to be derogatory towards the Astros situation. It's just a fact that there's not that guy in that clubhouse who you can soak up some information over the years about playing at the major league level.
Fowler held on by Kelly Johnson as the first pitch is outside on Singleton. I think it would surprise people to see that there isn't always that real leader type personality on a club. People talk about leaders, and it's almost kind of too loosely talked about who's the leader on your ball club. A lot of times that guy doesn't really exist. Now, it may come in the terms of how you play the game, and I think Jeff Bagwell, Craig Biggio were those guys. They played the game right, and I think as a young player you had to respect the game in watching the way they played it.
Well, I was fortunate enough the first time I came through Houston, I had the Bagwells, the Biggios. Brad Ausmus was my locker mate. He was a great guy. Shane Reynolds was pitching in that rotation at the time. He was another good guy to talk to. You go out in the bullpen, and Billy Wagner was closing games. I mean, those were guys that earned the right to be there and were successful, but also they understood what it was like to struggle at the major league level. Very humble, yet very opinionated, and offered it up quite a bit, which was nice.
Dexter Fowler has stolen 6 in 9 tries. And now Singleton draws the walk. That'll put runners at first and second, nobody out. And we mentioned that Joe Kelly, when he has had issues in his brief time in the major leagues, it has come because of the walks.
Well, just to give you an idea, I know it's a brief sample size, but he's got 2 games started for the Boston Red Sox, 13 total innings coming into this game, 7 walks.
And now 8 with this one to Singleton. So yeah. So maybe the Astros try to take advantage, and you talked about that with Grossman at the plate in the first inning. Nobody out for Carlos Corcoran. Carlos hitting .239. Breaking ball bends low. On base percentage of .287 for Carlos. Infield swings around a bit toward the right side. Shortstop Bogarts jockeying in behind Fowler, and here's a shot into right field. Base hit for Corp. Stopping at third is Fowler. He had to freeze momentarily to make sure this ball got through. Couple of hits and a walk. Astros have the bases juiced with nobody out for Mark Krause.
What Carlos does is so impressive. He knows his role, and maybe that's why he's so successful. But he prepares relentlessly for these opportunities. He knows that day games are going to be his day. And right out of the chute, first at bat, first and second, gets himself a fastball in the strike zone and turns on it.
First at bat of the series for Carlos.
Such a blessing for Bo Porter to have a backup catcher like that can just step in. Really don't miss a beat.
So it brings up Mark Krause. Chance for the Astros to jump on top. And we mentioned that last night they jumped on top. The bats were hot. They had a 5-1 lead early, and it turned into a 6-3 lead, but the Red Sox then had the big inning, a 4-run job. They followed that with a 3-run inning, and when it was all said and done, Red Sox won it 10-7.
Yeah, the offense just shut down after the 4th inning. 6 runs in 4 innings, and then nothing the rest of the way.
Krause hitting 191. He shows that pop, 6 homers, driving in 20. And now has a very favorable hitter's count. Krause in the 7th spot in the order. Tough assignment when you get those occasional starts, pinch hitting opportunities. Hits the fastball on the 2-0 down the left field side and slices it to the seats. Good aggressive approach.
And I was down there in the clubhouse talking with some of these guys earlier. Mark Krause was one of those guys I saw in the lineup and asked him if he was ready for today, and he said that he was looking forward to the chance of going after that green monster. So with the 2-0 count, he gets a fastball down, maybe a little bit away, and you can see he was thinking that way. Not a bad idea here in Boston.
Surprising numbers for Mark this year against righties and lefties. Pitch hit in the air left field, and it's driving the left fielder back to the wall, and not played well at all by Cespedes. It'll wind up as a single off the wall, scoring 1 run. Dexter Fowler able to score. John Singleton could only get to 3rd base, and this was a bit of a circus in left field by Cespedes.
Well, I think the reason more runs weren't scored is because the way Cespedes went after that ball. Just kind of drifted on a little bit. I'm not sure if he saw it well off the bat. It's kind of a glary sky today, but fastball away from Mark Krause to try and poke it out there off the wall. But it just kept drifting, and this is what happens as an outfielder if you drift. We heard Tarek Brock talking about playing off that wall, and Cespedes didn't bail out, didn't get to a point where he thought he could catch that ball. And when you drift as an outfielder, you put yourself in a bad spot.
And Cespedes has put his pitcher Joe Kelly in a very bad spot. That ball should have been caught. Matt Dominguez stands in, hits a fly ball right center field, deep enough to score a run. Here comes Singleton. He will score. Sac fly for Dominguez, and the Astros with an early 2-0 lead. And that's just the first out here in the 2nd.
It's good to see the Astros taking advantage of situations. 2 runs early. Still plenty of inning to work with.
For Matt Dominguez, RBI number 51.
Yeah, I was kind of joking with Matt Dominguez. He's played a lot of baseball. I think 104 games he's been in, playing straight, 75 of them maybe at 3rd base total. But I would have thought today would have been the day off for a guy like Matt Dominguez. With that day off on Monday, could give him back-to-back days off. But got last night off, gets to play the day game.
And then follows it up with the off day in New York. So not exactly that 2-day rest you look for from the guys that are out there every day.
Yeah, and day games are typically that off day for the everyday guy.
Marwin Gonzalez with a 3-game hitting streak standing in, and Marwin's been doing a nice job, hitting .270, 5 bombs on the year. Ground ball back to the hill. It kicks off Kelly. Bogarts to the bag. It's safe at 2nd. Oh, no, it is not. It is out at 2nd.
I was only saying that because Bo Porter's coming out. I think he threw that ball before the step on second base was made.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see Bo coming out on this play right here.
Umpires have called a double play, and that will end the inning if Bo Porter does not challenge and win a challenge here.
I think it's a good move for him to be out there. I like this call.
As it stands for the moment, it would go as a 1-6 unassisted 3.
See that? He let go of the ball before he stepped on second base.
That's
I'm not
really
sure. Is this
close.
a vicinity rule? No, that ball's clearly out of his hand.
You're right.
clearly out of his hand.
No question.
But I'm not sure how the vicinity rule works. Again, I'm not sure if they took that out and didn't make it a call. Or...
Well, you know what? The umpires are going to confer right here. I think they're asking the same question. Does this apply in that vicinity issue that came up as they put the rules in place?
And I apologize.
No, that's all right.
Yeah, you can't see it up here in the booth, but when that play was happening, I gave the safe sign and maybe sent the wrong signal.
No, that's perfectly fine. I saw what you saw, but
with all these replays, I mean, I think they're going to confirm, and that ball's out of his hand.
Yeah.
You can see there's separation.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Really no need for Xander Bogaerts to get rid of that ball as quickly as he did.
Umpire's still conferring. And I believe it comes down to exactly what you're talking about, that neighborhood play. The umpires decided that there would be no neighborhood plays at second that were involved in replays. But
well, here's the question. That neighborhood play is usually on a ball that is flipped to the fielder who's on the base and making the turn.
Right.
This wasn't the case. This was an unassisted step on second, throw to first. So I wonder,
is it the same thing though?
Because you're questioning basically a fielder's choice to begin the play.
So neighborhood, by definition, is, let's call it 6-4-3 double play. Shortstop feeds the second baseman. He comes across the bag and leaves the bag too early before sending the throw back to first base. Well, in reality, that's exactly what's happened right here. Throw left too early.
Yeah, but it's not a flip. It's not an assist. This is the initial force out at second base. So I wonder if that takes it away from the vicinity rule.
Well, even with the flip, for me, there's really no difference, because if that second baseman passes through the bag, takes the throw after touching the bag, but not on the bag, it's kind of the same thing. You've got an unassisted step here if you were to get the double play, and in the other case, you have the assist. Yeah,
I think it's different. I think this is a different play than the flip.
Well, apparently the umpires do too, because they are going to check with New York.
And they just replayed it on the big board here, and you can hear a little bit of the reaction from Boston Red Sox fans here during this gorgeous day game at Fenway Park. And I think the replays that we're seeing, the guys in the truck doing a great job giving us good shots and everybody back home. But I'm sure John Farrell, you see in the lower right, out there talking, this might be that rule that you're talking about, Ash. How is this not similar to the flip? But I think it's because it's the unassisted fashion.
Yeah, I don't know how to spin this one, because I could see that.
Because if this ball was flipped to Brock Holt and he made the turn and never touched second, that's your vicinity phantom double play. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and I'm okay
because
too.
That's a safety issue that they worried about, protecting these guys in a close play. But this, being an unassisted step on second for the force out, that's where I think the question, could work in Bo's favor.
Yeah. Well, again, all I can say at this point is it appears that the umpires feel the same way that you do, or at least they're not sure, and they're checking with New York.
Yeah, it's amazing. You can be prepared like the Major League Baseball offices were for all the contingencies in replay.
You got it all, yeah.
And the game will expose maybe an opening or a loophole in some of these calls. It's amazing.
I don't know that this play has come up this year.
I agree with you. I think this might be the first time.
Yeah.
But what a crazy thing that happens in baseball. That's why you watch. That's why you play.
Well, there's no question, if you say technically, there should be no out at second base here.
Yeah.
And now the umpires are going to agree with that assessment. He is safe at second base, so there is no double play. The replay pays dividends for the Astros. Marwin Gonzalez is out 6-3, but safe into second base is Mark Krause. That'll leave runners at second and third, 2 outs for the leadoff man, Robbie Grossman.
That's what John Farrell's arguing with Doug Eddings, and clearly all our replays, the replays that the umpires have seen, the ball was out of his hand before he got that initial out at second base. That's the second time we've seen Xander Bogaerts make a poor choice on a ground ball that's led to possibly more runs for the Houston Astros.
So you go back to the 8th inning a couple of nights ago. That was the big one, with the play coming eventually to the plate. And
when he had an easy out, throwing out Matt Dominguez on a one-hop line drive ground ball up the middle.
So beautifully done here, Robbie Grossman, and that called by Jeff Blum. He saw it immediately, so good stuff. 2-0 Houston. We're in the second inning, and a chance for Robbie Grossman to come up with a key hit for the club. Kelly from the stretch finds the outside edge. Ball and strike on Robbie. Grossman hitting just .209, but the numbers have been much better in recent times. It's the fastball foul. It's 1-2. July, a huge uptick for Grossman. Hit .293 in that month. Had a couple of home runs. Also has 2 home runs in August. Hitting just .231 in August. But he's driven in the same number of runs in the 2 months, July and August. Chance to push on by that figure.
Big home run in game 2 here in Fenway Park. Took the win away from Clay Buchholz with that one.
Huge swing as he drove one down the right field side. Has a 2-2 count. And now too much time taken by Kelly.
It's a big AB right here.
And we talked about it last night. It's kind of that knockout punch type at bat early in a ball game. If you can get it, you can make the afternoon a fun one for your teammates. Otherwise, you can wind up in those grinders. And now 3-2. Nice job by the catcher Butler.
I'm sure Robbie recognizes. You just saw, or at least I just saw, the pitcher Kelly look into the on-deck circle, and if he's looking over there, he wants to focus on this guy right here, Robbie Grossman, because he's got a 3-2 count. If he loads the bases with Robbie Grossman, you got Altuve, who's the league's leading hitter, hitting behind him, and then you got Chris Carter, who's been lighting it up in the last 35 days or so.
Well, here we go, the 3-2. Grossman stings it and hooks it to the seats.
Pretty good swing on a 3-2 breaking ball.
Sun has found its way out. Full force here at Fenway.
Gorgeous.
We've mentioned it in the other 3 games. It's been great weather. Nice and cool. A little bit warmer today, but not that sticky, muggy, hot stuff you can run into this time of year. Again, a 3-2 pitch, and again fouled off by Robbie.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys left that stuff down in Houston.
Well, we don't own all of it.
Spread it around a little bit.
But you know, this time of year you can really get that hot, sticky feeling. And quite frankly, we had it back in Washington, D.C. earlier this year.
Oh, man, did we ever. Even at that altitude, it was hot.
Broadcast booth in D.C. and in Pittsburgh, up with the blimp. Grossman, the 7th hitter of the inning. Again, he will see a 3-2 pitch. And again, he will foul it off. Well, Robbie Grossman just keeps on battling. Chance to drive in some big runs. 2 runs on 4 hits for Houston. Red Sox have not gotten on the scoreboard. They have 1 knock. Colin McHugh is getting a lot of rest here early.
Sure is.
3-2 pitch. That's ball 4. So Robbie draws the walk. That'll load him up for Jose Altuve.
Great AB by Robbie Grossman. That'll bring up the league leader in hits, stolen bases. Look at this. To lead the AL in hits and stolen bases for a season since 1969. How about those names? Making your mark on history. Jose Altuve is looking to keep adding to that right now with this AB in a bases loaded situation. 2 outs. of Famers on there.
Pretty good list. And you know, this guy's looking for a chance to sting a baseball. From the stretch, Kelly brings it. And misses close. 1-0 the count. And as Blummer mentioned, Chris Carter waiting on deck.
He's got a full-on assault for the Astros. Franchise record for hits in a season. He's at 170 right now, projected at 221.
He hammers one toward the monster and left. It is out of here. Grand slam number 4 on the year for Houston. They'll jump on top 6-0 as Jose Altuve takes advantage of the hanger.
How about that? Get the challenge overturned. Great AB by Robbie Grossman, and there is the foot on the throat of the Boston Red Sox by Jose Altuve. He can just add to his hit total. He added to his RBI total in a big way.
And he
Four-run jack, and Farrell was out there letting Doug Eddings have it. I think he realizes how big that play was at second base.
Well, that's absolutely what this argument is about. And I imagine what Farrell is arguing is that that is the neighborhood play.
Yes.
And you're going to have people on both sides of this one, no doubt.
Jim Joyce is the crew chief. He's coming all the way over from third base, but immediately after that grand slam, what's crazy is if Kelly gets out of that inning, you're not going to hear a word from John Farrell. But that pitch right there is what sent him over the edge. But he is letting Doug Eddings have it right now. I'm not sure what the conversation was earlier between them, but he is letting him know about it again.
Here's the deal, though, and I want to mention that is the first career grand slam for Jose Altuve. So a big congratulations there. But
yeah,
this replay went back to New York. And so some people had to decide in New York that this was worth the review.
Yeah.
So this is not just the 4 umpires here in Boston saying, you know what, we decide that we think that this should be reviewed, but no doubt they had to make that request to New York as well.
And it's important to note, too, Jim Joyce was on the headsets. Farrell was out arguing with Doug Eddings during that time that the challenge was being made. So I'm not sure what the conversation was, but this is a breaking ball that backed up for Altuve. We talked about how well he can barrel up anything around that dish, and this one was hanging for him. The little man put it over the green monster for a 4-run jack. That was a bullet. The season he's having, he has been absolutely a joy to watch.
41 RBIs for Jose. Again, 6-0 Houston as Carter takes a hack and fouls it back.
Keep piling on, boys. Don't let up.
Okay, so there's really no question if the Astros hang on and win this game where you turn. You go back to that reviewed play on the ground ball hit by Marwin Gonzalez. Carter slams one to center field, but it hangs up for Bradley, and that'll do it for Houston in the second inning, and then the other swing being the Altuve grand slam, the big ones. The Astros send 9 to the plate. They put 6 on the board. It's a 6-0 Houston lead, grand slam, Jose Altuve.
August 27th for social media night when the Astros take on the A's. The tickets are $50 and include $15 of preloaded value to be used anywhere in Minute Maid Park, a game seat in the Bud patio. Special t-shirt, exclusive social media night t-shirt, and appearances by Colin McHugh, Bill Brown, Steve Sparks, and Orbit. For tickets, visit astros.com/social media or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Thank you, Julia. We are underway here in the bottom of the second inning. 6-0 Houston. Jose Altuve with a grand slam, and that reviewed play at second. With the ensuing argument, John Farrell, the skipper of the Red Sox, was ejected. Jose Altuve is the big man on campus. Got off to a slow start here in this series. Had one hit in his first 10 at-bats of the series, but now has picked it up. Kelly Johnson puts it on the ground to second base, and out number one for Colin McHugh.
Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game. Might anticipate what it could be, and it's going to be brought to you by, of course, Miller Lite.
We mentioned that grand slam by Altuve is the fourth on the season for Houston. Chris Carter has a pair, John Singleton the other one, and two of those, one from Carter, the one from Singleton, in one single game at Minnesota, that on June 8th. But add Jose Altuve to that list. He's now had 20 opportunities in his career with the bases loaded, and takes advantage with his first grand slam.
Mark that off the list of things to do.
Bucket list is started to dwindle for Jose. Man, if he wins a batting title this year and a stolen base title and leads the league or the major leagues in hits, what, you can do a lot of crossing off.
Big year.
Swing and a miss, and down on strikes is Xander Bogaerts, who made that tactical error that set up the 6-run inning.
It's only 2 outs in the inning, but after that big inning, Colin McHugh coming out wasting no time, doing a good job throwing strikes, and that's what you want to see from a pitcher who has a big lead. Just keep pounding the zone.
You know, I said tactical error. That really wasn't. That was a physical error. He did the right thing going to the bag, Bogaerts, but just didn't deliver at the right time.
It still borders on the mental error.
Well, yeah. Well-placed slider. 1-1 the count. You know, you can use the term, well, the young player made a mistake. And I've heard it so many times. And sometimes the young players are the guys that don't make mistakes. See Jose Altuve, for example. Hot shot up the middle. Base hit for Will Middlebrooks. It comes with 2 outs. Hit number 2 for the Boston Red Sox. And sometimes it's the veterans who make the mistakes, and sometimes they don't. So what I'm saying is I hate putting a label of the mistake made by the young guy. Sometimes that guy that makes mistakes when he's young continues to be the guy that makes mistakes throughout a career.
I also think it's a situation of the year, too. I mean, if the Red Sox had their record reversed and they were 66-56, he probably makes that play, or it doesn't make the play and it gets washed away because the pitcher gets out of the jam. But considering the season they're having, it's just par for the course probably.
Well, look, we've looked at a 4-game series here, and Bogaerts has been involved in 2 plays that have been enormously costly for the Red Sox. And does it come down this season for the Red Sox, so miserable after the World Championship year last year? Does it come down in some cases to simply not performing on plays like this? Yes, we've pointed out that the offense has been dismal this year. Can't verify that by the head-ups between the 2 clubs.
Yeah, but you're in the big leagues. You're up here because you make plays. That's a play that needs to be made.
I'm sure John Farrell would not argue with that. Here's a base hit through the right side for Bradley. Back-to-back hits with 2 outs, Middlebrooks and Bradley. And it'll bring up the 9-hitter, catcher Dan Butler.
Bradley's quietly having himself a decent series here. Picking up a knock. He's got good numbers against the Houston Astros too, but only 2 for 10 coming into the series. He got a couple RBIs. He had a big bases loaded walk earlier in this series. Snuck one through that hole with John Singleton holding on the base runner.
So Dan Butler makes his first appearance of the series. On the season, just 0 for 7, so looking for that first knock. McHugh starts him with the breaking ball and misses. And with this being the first year in the big leagues for Butler, he's still looking for that first major league hit. Just the third game in which he's played. And now has the count in his favor at 2 balls and no strikes. Well, you said it, Blummer. The first 2 hitters retired nicely by McHugh, and then suddenly back-to-back hits. Falls behind on the 9 hitter, and waiting on deck is Mr. Drive It Around the Yard, Brock Holt. And 2-1. McHugh from the stretch. Pitch is sharply hit and handled by Dominguez, who goes to the bag himself. Freezing was Middlebrooks to provide more time for Dominguez.
Of one of the best bargains in Minute Maid Park with the Coca-Cola Value Days package, available with specially marked Coke products. The package includes a ticket, a hot dog, popcorn, and a bottle of Coke for just $16. Visit Astros.com for more information.
Well, that sounded like a whole lot going on.
It's a lot of goodies and a lot of ofs.
Can Astros fans really get along with Red Sox fans? We will find out in just a few moments.
I think Julia's on that one. I think she's
it's got to be the big story of the day.
She's a little enamored with one particular fan out there today, I think.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised she's able to focus on the game today.
First pitch, a strike called on Dexter Fowler. The Astros lead it 6-0. How did that happen? Jose Altuve hit a grand slam. That's a big part of it. And that followed a review at second base as Fowler slams one to right field, back at the wall, and this one is out of here. Dexter Fowler has launched one. His 7th on the year. It's 7-0 Houston, and the second home run of the afternoon for Houston. Dexter Fowler 2 for 2 on his day.
Ball was killed. No joke, hitting one over the bullpen here at Fenway Park. That's a pretty good blast, and that's your 4-hole hitter right there, Ash.
That's why he's there.
Big time bomber. And he's out of here.
Did ball get thrown back in right field? Heard some reaction.
No, Dexter took it. He's getting the silent treatment right now. He ran right back into that clubhouse tunnel, and now he's getting a little bit of love.
7 dingers for Dexter. 26 RBIs on the year. Well, Joe Kelly's getting touched up. And we talked about his very good stuff, but the Astros have better stuff here this afternoon. 6 hits. John Singleton drew a walk and scored in the second. And that's a pretty fair hack.
Let that ball travel a little bit. That was good to see.
The Astros start the day 51-73. These Boston Red Sox in last place in the American League East, the world champs, 56-66. They're 13.5 games back of first place Baltimore. Little ground ball, squibbed foul.
Oh, Tarek.
It's the guy that was teaching you how to play the wall yesterday.
He's usually pretty good down there with those ground balls, but I'm sure the Boston fans are letting him know how they feel about his hands. What a great guy.
Yes, he is. Apparently quite an athlete in his younger days. Down on strike, Singleton on the off-speed delivery. Out number 1 here in the third. It'll bring up Carlos Corcoran. Let's take another look at Dexter Fowler and his long ball prowess.
Creating some leverage right there, that big lanky body. Dropping the head on it. Watch where this ball ends up too. Here at Fenway Park, that bullpen is sizable, and he gets it up into the seats. Still not in Ted Williams' area, but pretty good poke nonetheless.
Carlos had a base hit. Shot one through the right side in the second inning. Part of that 6-run inning. 9 hitters came to the plate. 2 very key events. The ground ball that was initially called a double play to end the inning, hit by Marwin Gonzalez, reviewed and changed it, extended the inning. Robbie Grossman then walked. Jose Altuve slammed a grand slam over the green monster and left. And John Farrell was ejected, the skipper of the Boston Red Sox. And so a very eventful few hitters at that point for the Astros. Strike on the outside corner. 1-2 on Carlos.
It's been an eventful game already, Ash.
Yes, it has. Colin McHugh, we've talked about, very good in recent starts and trying to make that happen again today. You know, Julia's got a little story about Colin and pitching here at Fenway in the minor leagues. So we'll let her do her thing there. .245 the batting average for Carlos.
Whoa.
That was an ankle seeker.
Holding on too tight, Cougar.
Carlos has taken a stroll all over the dirt area.
He finally decided to get out of the way of that pitch.
Kelly brings the 3-2. And it's a walk to Corcoran. One out for Mark Krause.
It's never too early to learn the value of good glove work. Watch this kid above the bullpen. Gets a glove on it, clanks it. Dad comes in over, gets it. Kid's not able to retrieve it. Dad gives it to the son. Great job, son. Look what I got for you. Meanwhile, the agony of not making the catch by that youngster right there. No.
I had it right in my glove.
The little girl was like, tough break, kid. Beat it.
The old ABC wide world of sports.
That was
agony
it.
of victory, or the thrill of victory in the agony of defeat.
That was good stuff.
Mark Krause had a base hit driving in a run in the second. He also scored a run. He was aboard on the slam by Altuve. One and one the count on Mark. And with that base hit, the batting average at 196. You know, he's thinking about it. One more knock. I get myself into the 200s.
He's darn right he's thinking about it. How about his base hit off the base of the wall out there off the monster went farther than Big Poppy's second home run yesterday.
Well, you know, that fly ball actually leads to that inning eventually extending so Altuve could hit the grand slam.
There you go. There's that veteran issue. You know, not always the rookies, the young guys that are making mistakes.
Yeah, that was not a good play at all by Cespedes, and you know, you surmise that there could have been multiple things at play there, but Red Sox get a right-hander loosening in their pen. Kelly with the 3-1, and he issues another walk. They come back-to-back here in the third inning, and the fans at Fenway not too pleased with what they're watching. That's 4 walks already issued by Kelly. And that's going to bring out the pitching coach, Juan Nieves.
Yeah, the reason the Red Sox fans are booing is because my score sheet looks awfully red on the Astros side. It's gorgeous. That's a beautiful thing.
And you don't even mix it with green on the walk. So, I mean, it's
that's too much thinking.
Kind of Christmas-like.
Yeah, you're a little more rainbowish. I'm just a red or black. That's it. No in-betweens.
You only see it 2 ways, huh?
That's it.
Let's see how Matt Dominguez sees it. He had a sac fly in the second inning. Drove in his 51st of the year. He aggressively came to the plate and shot that fly ball to center field to drive in a run. That was run number 2. And it looked good, 2-0 Houston, but Altuve made it look a whole lot better. An appeal on the check swing, comes back no swing. Umpires today behind the plate, Pat Hoberg, Doug Eddings at first, Corey Blazer at second, and the crew chief, Jim Joyce, is at third. And now 2-0 the count. So something is not clicking for Kelly. He brings the 2-0 and gets a beneficial outside corner right there. You wonder, does a home plate umpire at some point think, well, I better call this a strike because nothing else is this close?
I hope not, but it happens sometimes.
Dominguez hits it in the air, deep right center field. Cruising back is Bradley to make the play on the warning track. Tagging and moving to third is Corcoran, while holding at first is Kraus. 2 down, runners at the corners for Marwin Gonzalez.
Pretty good play by Jackie Bradley Jr. out there in center field. Balls are getting touched off of Joe Kelly. See him running right into the sun, trailing that one.
Didn't even watch the ball into his glove.
Surprised him, huh?
No, it looked to me like he got to cruising a bit, and I don't know if that had to do with the sun
or he got there and realized, oh gosh, I lost it in the sun kind of thing.
Yeah. They say he's a very good center fielder, great throwing arm. And now it's Marwin, and it was Marwin Gonzalez hitting the shot that really was heard around Fenway back in the second inning, or at least up until the swing by Jose Altuve. Kelly right where he's comfortable, behind in the count. And now 2-0. That was close. For Marwin Gonzalez, with the 0 for 1 on the day, he's hitting .269. Swings and fouls it left side. Marwin has been playing a very steady shortstop, swinging the bat well from both sides. Gotten the chance to play almost every day at shortstop and really taking advantage. And not even close. Kelly misses 96 miles an hour. But that radar gun doesn't call balls and strikes. Marwin has had hits in each of the previous 3 games in the series. 5 of them, a couple of 2-hit games. And in game 1 had a pair of doubles. Pitch is hit sharply, backhanded at third. Middlebrooks, he'll throw and get his man. And that'll do it. Nice play by Middlebrooks at third. The Astros pick up a run, though, on the home run by Dexter Fowler, his 7th of the year.
Colin McHugh gets back to work, said this is on the bucket list of baseball, pitching at Fenway Park, but it's not the first time he's pitched at Fenway Park. This is actually his 3rd start. He was a part of the Futures at Fenway when he was with the Mets organization. 2011 was his first minor league start here, and then 2012 he was with the AAA club. Between those 2 starts, a combined 13 scoreless innings, and he's working on a couple so far today, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Julia. And that's a cool story. You wonder, does that make Colin feel more comfortable about things coming in here? Some great memories yet to be scored upon in this ballpark. He'll face the top of the order here in the 3rd inning. Brock Holt, Daniel Nava, and David Ortiz. 6-0 Houston. Make that 7-0. Couple of home runs, 1 a grand slam. Jose Altuve, first on his career, and home run number 7 on the year for Dexter Fowler. And now falling behind is Colin McHugh. 2-0 the count. Brock Holt had a base hit to extend a hitting streak to 11 games as he started things for the Sox in the first. McHugh falls behind, 3-0. Astros infield shifts around. Almost a full shift. Marwin Gonzalez playing maybe a half a foot to the third base side of second and playing deep. 4-pitch walk to start things here in the 3rd inning. First walk issued by McHugh.
Can you blame him?
He's done a lot of sitting around.
It's Brock Holt.
Well, that's true. Yeah, well,
guys, he's 12 for 10 in this series.
That good.
That good.
That's a strong series.
It was impressive.
Yeah. he's been that good against
The only
Houston.
way they're going to get him out is by forcing him at second.
You know, we mentioned that back in that 3-game series in Houston earlier, Brock Holt went 10 for 15. And his career has gone that way against Houston. As the pitch is in for a strike on Daniel Nava. Much easier now.
Well, he's only hit 500 against the Astros.
That's right.
Brock Holt hit 750.
Holt will run occasionally. He's stolen 6 bags in 8 tries. Slider drilled into right field. There goes Daniel Nava again. Kicks up against the wall. Into third and being waved is Holt. He comes to the plate. And now a throw into second. They've got Nava in a rundown. The tag applied by Matt Dominguez. So that'll go 9-6-5. A double by Nava. And he's out trying to stretch, but he drives in a run. Brock Holt scoring the first Boston run of the afternoon. Now 7-1 Houston.
Yep, Nava continuing to rake the Astros. Not an awful pitch, but anything you're throwing up there to Holt, Nava, they're have a good chance of ripping it. And at first, I wasn't sure what Robbie Grossman was throwing it to, but I can't believe that Nava took that big a turnaround second base and works out to the Astros' advantage.
So 1 out.
Your standard 9-6.
9-6-5, I think it wound up.
Yeah, why not?
Exactly right. The Astros catch a break there.
They'll catch a break if Poppy lays down a bunt right here, too.
Don't see that happening.
He squared around right there. Better than him taking full hacks like he's been all series.
Actually, I have seen him do it multiple times with a shift on against him and have him just jog out a base hit. Ortiz flied to center field in the first. Well spotted little backdoor slider that misses. 3-0 the count. There have been some close pitches, called balls by Pat Hoberg. Carlos Corporon having a chat with Hoberg. And that one under the knees. Second walk of the inning now issued by Colin McHugh. And each coming on 4 pitches. Daniel Nava just raking it.
He's kind of watching his head. He looks up at his third base coach. Really no reason to extend that into a triple. I'm not sure what, just your standard. The play's right in front of him in right field. He saw Robbie Grossman pick up that ball. I think he was a little shocked to see that ball came backdoor on him. He was expecting that throw probably to go towards home plate. Brent Strom comes out, gives Colin McHugh a chat. Let's see if we can take a peek. I wonder if Nava was anticipating, but way down the line you can see that third base coach Butterfield. Really nothing going on.
Yeah, that's a costly out. The Red Sox otherwise have a potential large inning brewing.
Yeah, you ran yourself out of scoring position.
Yoenis Cespedes at the plate. Outfield very deep against Cespedes. Starts the bat, holds it back. It's a ball and a strike. Colin McHugh is not a guy that walks a lot of hitters.
No, you mentioned it earlier. One of the few guys that has had 2 9+ strikeout games without walking a batter.
He had walked only 35 in 108 innings on the season. So this is a rarity. A little pop fly, and this is going to drop. Robbie Grossman has to come in. David Ortiz has to sprint. And when it's all said and done, it's a base hit. Ortiz moves into second.
What?
You got it.
Kind of poked out there by Cespedes, puts David Ortiz in a tough spot. You see him right there. He's got to kind of play the middle of it, but still got enough agility to sneak in there ahead of the throw from Robbie Grossman.
Enough what?
Speed, quickness, agility. athleticism.
Yeah, I was looking at that slide. He didn't have a whole lot going moving forward. I wasn't sure what the slide was going to do, but
Almost turned into a lawn dart.
yeah. So one of those little loopers drops after Cespedes has hit bullet after bullet for outs in the series. 2 walks, 2 hits, a single and a double here in the inning. There is an out, but a run in, runners at first and second. Kelly Johnson at the plate. KJ started the year with the New York Yankees. He was the third baseman. He was the guy that was going to be stepping in for A-Rod. Powerful left-handed bat. He has had issues with the strikeouts through the years. And just a really good guy.
He's played second base most of his career, now starting to move around a little bit, play those corner positions. But yeah, strong, powerful left-handed bat over the years.
Breaking ball kicks away from Carlos Corcoran, and the runners are going to move up. So in that inability to block the breaking ball in the dirt, now the double play possibility is gone. And now 2 runners in scoring position. That was not getting down early enough for Carlos. Just a very late kickover. Full shift on for Kelly Johnson. And he's down on strikes. So that's what's plagued him throughout his career. That's a key second out. And now can Colin McHugh get out without any further damage?
Steady diet of sliders. Good hard sliders, too.
If you get out of an inning where you've yielded 2 walks, a double, and a single with just 1 run against you, you've done something pretty well. Bogaerts takes a strike. 0 for his last 10. He struck out in the second inning. Bogaerts just 21 years of age. As the count at a ball and a strike. One of those rare players from Aruba. Came up with the Red Sox last year. Played in 18 games. Takes the slider high, so 2-1 the count. First base open. Will Middlebrooks waits on deck. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning, and again some rain in the forecast for later on in the day. And now 3-1. Just all of a sudden, Colin McHugh can't find the strike zone here in the 3rd inning. Finds the inside edge. That'll fill it. 3-2.
He's not going to the fastball when he needs a strike either.
No, he's not. And we've seen that at times for Colin. See what he does on the 3-2. Goes to the slider. Handled on a hop by Singleton, who feeds perfectly to Colin, and they get the out. 3-1, and that'll do it for the Red Sox. And Colin McHugh somehow gets out of the jam with just a run. we are set to go. Robbie Grossman, the leadoff man for Houston, leads it off here in the fourth inning. 7-1 Houston. The Astros with a couple of home runs. Grand slam by Jose Altuve, part of a 6-run second inning. Dexter Fowler had a solo shot as he led off the third inning. And the Red Sox getting on the board in the third against McHugh. And that was an inning that saw McHugh really struggle with command, a couple of walks. But he managed to get out with just the one run on the board. Grossman takes a strike. It's 1-1. Right-hander Joe Kelly has had a rough beginning to today's game.
It was very polite. I think it's turned into a complete disaster in that second inning.
Now that second inning, 6 runs and a couple of questionable plays. Certainly Cespedes' inability to make a play on the fly ball hit by Krause. And then the Bogaerts' mistake at second base, trying to turn a double play that should have been. The review coming into play, turning on the Astros' favor. Strike called inside edge. Robbie just taking pitch after pitch, has the count filled once again. He has struck out looking and drawn a walk, scored on that grand slam by Altuve in the second. And fouls off the 3-2. It's uncanny how many times Robbie Grossman will foul off pitches in 3-2s.
It is pretty impressive. He's seen a lot of pitches in this series.
Kelly with the 3-2 once again. Right on the hands. It's popped up near the dugout third base side, but with room, Middlebrooks makes the play.
Time now for the AT&T Rewind, and we talked about that second inning, and it was a play off of Marwin Gonzalez's bat. Back up the middle, and Xander Bogaerts, in trying to turn that double play, releases the ball before touching second base. And we finally got a ruling on that. What people or umpires were thinking back in New York about that play. The challenge was whether or not the play was reviewable under replay rules because of that vicinity rule we spoke about. They determined it was because there was no throw and the player was not straddling the bag. It was deemed not to be the neighborhood play.
So they mix in and because the guy was not straddling the bag.
Yes.
So it's all about the protection of the infielder then.
Yeah, that's what I interpreted it. Those protection plays and the neighborhood plays is allowing the guy who straddles as Altuve just gets another base hit.
Well, that's 3 on the afternoon for Jose. He's 3 for 3. And again, he started this 4-game series 1 for 10. But has he ever picked it up? 6 total bases on the day. 4 RBIs with a grand slam. His 6th home run of the year. First career grand slam. Jose Altuve is making it look easy. And as a couple of guys here in the booth, we can tell you it's not. Okay, one of us can. Brings up Chris Carter. He's 0 for 2, grounded into a double play and flied to center field. Carter pops one foul. Playable. First baseman Kelly Johnson calling and making the catch. 2 down here in the 4th inning. So Carter 0 for 3 on the day.
I thought that was a pretty good explanation by Major League Baseball as far as that neighborhood play.
Told it's MLB Advanced Media. Now, apparently only the big shots get to talk with those folks.
I'm on that email chain.
Okay. Rub it in.
We'll say via 13, 14 other people who.
I thought only Carlos Patterson was on that one.
Carlos.
Yeah.
He's good people. Yeah, he keeps us informed, thankfully.
Dexter Fowler is 2 for 2. He scored a pair of runs. He's hit a home run, his 7th of the year. And Joe Kelly continues to miss the strike zone. 2-0 the count. The Astros have 7 hits to go with their 7 runs. Red Sox have 5 and only 1 run on the board. Colin McHugh Started out very sharp in the first inning. It has deteriorated a bit. And now 3-0 the count. John Singleton waits on deck. Three and one. By the way, you see the way the Astros are wearing their uniforms today. That's in honor of longtime coach and scout Gordy McKenzie, who passed away this past week. 77 years of age. And now ball four. Another walk issued. Fowler aboard. Pushes Altuve into second base and brings up Singleton. And here you get your closer look. That's what the Astros are sporting here this afternoon.
Good move by them.
Yeah.
Show a lot of respect for a man who worked hard for the Houston Astros, and I'm sure he's watching this ball game from above right now, enjoying what he's seeing. Might be a look that trends a little bit for the Houston Astros.
You know what? It looks pretty good. I like them both. I can see both angles. But the way the Astros are swinging the bats, you think there's any inclination to say, let's throw them on like this again?
I don't know, but I think your assessment's right. You can see both ankles with the pants up.
Not a bad idea. Okay, that's the two ankles I was referring to.
Oh, just giving you a hard time.
Nice.
Solidarity. It's a good thing.
Everywhere but in the booth.
I've got mine.
Yeah.
I got my knickers on. Well, you didn't wear yours?
I forgot.
Oh, you went high socks.
Just completely forgot today. You know what?
You got to have socks to have high socks to begin with.
Yeah.
I was wondering what that odor was.
So you're going to play that game, huh?
It's all fun and games.
Doesn't matter if it's accurate or not.
People will never know until they have a scratch and sniff broadcast.
We've got one coming. Strike is called. It is 1-1 on Big John. A walk and a strikeout. Batting average at 183.
I'd like to see John get in on the act here. Turn on one.
You see his swing showing any signs of that ability to push the batting average up considerably?
Not until he shortens that swing a little bit for me. I just see a tendency when he gets. It's not when he struggles a little bit and tries to do a little too much. I see that swing getting a little bit longer and keeps extending itself. Yeah, it looks good sometimes when he takes that big swing and miss, but I'd like to see it cut down a little bit, getting to the point of contact. I don't mind that extension afterwards, but I see a lot of times that barrel kind of getting lost and casting and dragging through that zone. And that's that goes for a lot of guys that struggle. It happened to me quite a bit. Try and do a little too much, swing a little too hard, cast out a little bit. Takes a while for that barrel to get through the zone. Just get back to being quick.
See Joe Kelly throwing any strikes at any point soon?
Not on this pitch.
Well, there goes that analysis.
Unless he swings at it. I didn't have a chance to finish my thought.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Did I cut you off?
Just quick pitch me now.
Okay. 2 outs here in the fourth inning. The Astros trying to add to this 7-1 lead. Runners go, and ball four is called. Second walk of the inning. Fifth of the afternoon issued by Kelly. And still nobody coming out of that Red Sox dugout.
Is that Torey Lovello on the right who's taken over for John Farrell after being ejected?
I would certainly assume that Torey is the manager in waiting for the Red Sox at all times.
Not a bad guy to have. Got Craig Breslow now getting loose in the Red Sox bullpen. Here we get a look at Torey. He's just acting as manager.
He is the acting skip.
Yep.
So the Red Sox, well, it's obvious they feel they need some help for their bullpen. That's been extended a bit here in the series. Breaking ball's in for a called strike.
Well, they called up knuckleballer Steve Wright. Saw him getting loose earlier in the game, and I was really hoping he came into the game, to be honest.
You're talking about the funny guy, Stephen Wright.
Exactly. I had a whole line of quotes ready for when that guy came in.
Red Sox used 5 pitchers last night. Swing and a miss by Carlos, who has singled and walked. And the count now at 0-2. In game 2, the Red Sox used 7 pitchers. So yeah, you would figure that bullpen is in need of some rest. And that's where a guy has, as a starter, that need to step up and provide some innings.
I think that's what it's turned into for Joe Kelly right now, is how much more can you give us? I know it's not going to be pretty and you don't have your best stuff, but can you go out there and grind away maybe another inning for us? Up at 90 pitches here in the 4th.
Sometimes it's not so much about today as it is about the long haul for a team. Court run down on strikes, and that'll do it. Kelly gets through the 4th inning and does not yield a run despite the Astros leaving 3.
Some homers in this game, including a solo shot by Dexter Fowler back in the 3rd. It was a bomb, too, and one unlucky fan was on the other end of it. This is Zach that I'm with, and he was behind the plate. He tried to catch it. Tell me what happened, Zach.
Well, it came from there, and then it came over here, and my glove kind of gave out, hit my head, and went over there.
Are you okay? It hit you in the head?
It just nicked my head.
Okay, well, then what happened? Because I see you have a ball right there. Where'd that come from?
Oh, well, it went over there. He was going to offer me the ball, but then he tossed it up right to me.
Well, that's cool. You know those are Astros and not Red Sox, right?
Yeah, they're very nice.
Oh, so are you going to be an Astros fan now?
I'm kind of Red Sox and Astros now.
Awesome, Zach. Thank you, and have fun the rest of the game, guys.
Way to go, Julia. Get yourself a new Astros fan there.
I love it.
There was a lot of here and there going on in that conversation.
That's good stuff.
Took one in the head, but it didn't hurt at all. Will Middlebrooks leads off here in the 4th inning, and Colin McHugh starts out kind of the way things went in the 3rd inning when he walked a couple of guys. Gave up 2 hits in that frame.
It's just a flesh wound. Get over it. It's nice of whoever down there in the bullpen threw that ball up to him. That kid will come back again because of what happened up there.
And again and
That's
again.
awesome.
You bet, yeah.
That's the beauty of it.
Slider foul back, 1-2. Bottom 3 in the order for the Red Sox. Middlebrooks, Bradley, and Butler. You see, it was that guy down there that gave me the baseball. He's my new favorite player.
He must have timed that thing perfectly. Lingering around the bottom section. He's sitting up there near where Ted Williams used to hit him.
I was going to say, he's up there waiting for Teddy to slam one. Base hit by Will Middlebrooks, his 2nd of the afternoon. The Red Sox swinging it pretty well. And they've had a good series. 22 runs scored by the Red Sox in the first 3 games. They get a leadoff single. It brings up center fielder Jackie Bradley. Bradley Jr. getting 214 with that base hit. Oh, and 1 the count. Still have not gotten to that official game status yet. Skies still look good, but
checking the radar.
I am just checking the skies to make sure that nothing goes amiss here this afternoon. 0-2 the count. Yeah, looks good.
It's real good.
If you look off in the distance, there are some darker clouds, but they're not coming our way. That starts from Bradley. They appeal and palms down at third. Have we had a swing on an appeal this entire series?
I thought you were going to ask me if you had rain delay.
No. Why'd you have to bring that up? There you go. You're destructive.
Yeah, why'd you have to punch me?
High ball left field. Krause going back, won't get there. It's off the monster. Bradley scoots toward third base. It'll be held to a single, or rather Middlebrooks gets to third. So base hits by Middlebrooks and Bradley, and here come the Red Sox. Runners at the corners.
Pretty well played by Mark Krause off that wall. He was obviously listening to our pregame the other day when we had Tarek Brock on there talking about how guys, as soon as they realize that ball's over their head, you see him fake catch, maybe hold up the runner going from first to third, but he bails out, as Tarek called it. That allowed him to play that ball on one hop and get it back in quickly, keeping Bradley at first base, keeping that double play in order. That was a good play.
Well, runners at first and third. Nobody out for the 9-hitter, Dan Butler. Grounded into a fielder's choice to end the second inning. Red Sox have matched the Astros in the hits column. 7-7. And once you get past Butler, it's the top of the order for the Sox, and that has been a great top of the order. So where the first inning looked like Colin McHugh was really going to be on the money today, it has turned into a bit of a struggle. Brings a strike. It's 1-1.
If you're an Astros pitcher, you're thinking about minimizing damage. Seen some big innings this series lead to some losses. Right now, Colin McHugh would gladly exchange a earned run for double play
Gotta love these guys like Dan Butler, 27-year-old rookie. He's been battling around, really just getting his first shot at the big leagues in his third game. Lays off the slider. It's 2-1.
It is good to see.
Been banging around since 2009. Played at Pawtucket earlier this year. Back over the last 3 seasons, and now 3-1. Even that trusty slider, McHugh's having a tough time throwing a strike with.
Dan Butler's out of that Cody Clark mold. Astros saw that last year.
Cody Clark retired after the season last year. I was, for one, disappointed to see it. I thought he was really good defensively.
Yeah, he had a pretty good string of throwing runners out at second base.
Pitch is popped up. Converging and now calling is Matt Dominguez. So the Astros get a big out on Dan Butler, who continues to be over in the major leagues. Out number 1 and back to the top with Brock Holt.
Good play by Matt Dominguez coming in and calling that ball off. Take charge.
They had Singleton, McHugh, and Corcoran all converging around the baseball.
Saw a similar situation yesterday. Then Singleton came in, wasn't sure what to do, ended up clanking it for an error. But even from up here, I heard Matt Dominguez calling that ball pretty early.
1 out, double play, still a possibility, but Brock Holt at the plate. He has singled and walked, scored a run, and just lasers one to the seats down the right side.
Grief. Even his foul balls are mashed.
I'd like to see the scouting report the Astros have on this guy and Daniel Nava.
Probably a lot of red ink.
Throw anything. There is no possible way to get this guy out. Other than that pitch.
Wait a minute.
Did we find something?
I think Corpy's thinking of putting the same finger down again. Pretty nasty hammer.
Well, Mike Foltynewicz gets loose in the pen. Cannot be a friendly sight for Colin McHugh. We're in the 4th inning. 7-1. Yeah. And that breaking ball fouled off. So they go right back to the well. Now I'm wondering, with Foltynewicz throwing, could that imply that something is bothersome on the finger once again for Colin?
I am not entirely sure. Well, that would explain last time he had issues with control. It was because of that blister issue on the finger. Maybe that is what's going on. We don't know.
Sure hope that's not the case. When Colin has been free of that problem, he's been a very effective pitcher this year. Among the very lowest in terms of batting average against on the season. And we're talking amongst the big boys. Got him swinging. Huge strikeout. Brock Holt has destroyed Houston pitching, and yet he goes down on strikes. 4th strikeout for McHugh, 2nd out of the inning. And now that light at the end of the tunnel with Nava coming to the plate.
2015 Houston Astros season tickets are on sale now. Enjoy some of the best seats at Minute Maid Park. Get the best value and receive great benefits throughout the season. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS now to reserve your seats. Yeah, it sounds crazy, but that was a big strikeout.
Yeah. Only the 4th inning. A couple of runners aboard, but a game that you get in that spot where things could turn around with this big part of the order coming up.
Well, Will Middlebrooks has been at 3rd base with nobody out. Now there's 2 outs in the inning, but you know, you're talking about minimizing damage. Now he has a chance to get out of it unscathed.
McHugh gave up a couple of hits with 2 outs in the 2nd inning and got Butler to ground into a fielder's choice. Now misses inside. 2-0 the count. He allowed a run in the 3rd inning, but had the bases loaded when he got Xander Bogaerts to ground out. Or rather, a couple of runners aboard in that 3rd. And a strike called. It's 2-1. Infield swung around to the right side. Daniel Nava has been red hot as he takes another strike. That evens the count. Daniel Nava so hot that he even got a hit batting right-handed last night, and that's been a fierce struggle for him. Now 3-2. Nava just 2 home runs on his season. And we talked about the big numbers he put up last year. 66 ribbies. Just 18 RBIs this year. They make that 19 with the RBI in the 3rd inning. So the 3-2. Bradley goes from first base as it's fouled back. In terms of the pitch count, Collins put himself in a spot now where, best case scenario, he may only get a chance to go 5 innings. But he'd love to get those 5 with the 7-1 lead. The wins have been tough to come by. From the stretch, again Bradley on the move. Ground ball first base side. That'll back up Singleton. He'll feed on to McHugh, and he does it again as he gets out of the 4th inning, and no damage on the board. We played 4. Astros on top, 7-1.
This moment in history is presented by MD Anderson, making cancer history. August 17th, 1957, in a game against New York at Connie Mack Stadium. A foul ball off the bat of Richie Ashburn breaks the nose of spectator Alice Roth, the wife of an editor for Philadelphia's Bulletin. During the same at bat, the Phillies' leadoff hitter nails her for the 2nd time as she is carried off on a stretcher. And I'm sorry for giggling.
No, you're not.
Good grief. What a jerk I am.
Very nice.
Oh, man. I got to get it together.
Disgusting. Craig Breslow
That's
comes
terrible.
in. 3rd time now in the series for Breslow. 5.11 the ERA.
Yeah, he had the blown save the other day. The 10th inning, walked a couple of hitters, gave up a hit before Jake Marisnick went up there and ruined everything for the Red Sox that night.
That was the only save opportunity that Breslow's had this year with the Red Sox. And he's allowed those 54 hits you saw in 44 innings. So he's had a tough time being effective. He'll work it here in the 5th inning. The Astros on top 7-1. Taking advantage of a 6-run 2nd inning. Jose Altuve with his first career grand slam as the highlight swing. And we've had a few of them in the series, but those innings that kind of take some explanation. The review in that 6-run inning that enabled the Astros to get to the swing for Altuve. As Mark Krause takes a strike. 7, 8, 9 for Houston. Krause, Dominguez, and Gonzalez. The Red Sox will get a right-hander loose as Breslow makes his first toss. Krause has had a nice day. Single, driving in a run, scored a run in the 2nd, and drawn a walk, so 1 for 1 on the day. He is just a knock away from getting off the interstate.
There he is. Steve Wright getting loose in the Red Sox bullpen.
It's a small world, isn't it?
It is. I wouldn't want to paint it. they're just going to keep coming. It's going to be good.
Here's one of my personal faves. Hot shot hit to second base. Right there is Holt. He'll make the play, and out number 1 here in the 5th.
Is there another word for thesaurus?
Yeah, that was one. That's right. That's right.
We'll be here all day, folks. Hopefully not.
Sometime if you're just trying to have some fun and you don't know who Stephen Wright is, go on YouTube and have yourself some giggles.
Yeah, his delivery alone was
priceless. Yeah. Matt Dominguez stands in. Sac fly in the 2nd. Ribby number 51. He's also flied to center field. So 0 for 1 on the day. Hey, even Jerry Blancas could probably fill part of an afternoon that way.
Sure he could.
Little tapper's foul. 1-1 the count on Matty D. The Astros with 7 hits. The Red Sox have 7 knocks. But a big difference rather in the runs category. 7-1 Houston. Still a very pleasant afternoon as the count moves to 2-1. The Astros are 2nd in the major leagues in home runs since July 1st. They've now added 1 today. That's 51 since that date. 27 home runs, counting today's game in their last 20. It's been so good that even Matthew McConaughey can't resist an Astros game.
That's why we haven't heard from Julia.
She been swarming?
No.
There you go.
It's got the Fernando Rodney working. Nice.
Pop up on the infield. Shortstop Bogarts backing on the outfield grass. And out number 2. Well, those of us who worked in the booth back in the 2005 World Series season, and you were a part of the wrong side on that one, but Matthew McConaughey was at the ball games in Houston right below us. Big Astros fan.
Didn't he go to UT?
Yes.
I told you Julia was hiding out. Look at her on the left.
Yeah.
He'll never notice me sitting here. He doesn't look too worried about it.
Nor does Julia.
Be that ambush TMZ reporter down there.
2 down for Marwin Gonzalez. He takes a strike. So Breslow bringing some sanity back to the game, throwing strikes. And a swing and a miss. Good little cutter under the hands. Joe Kelly needed 91 pitches to get through 4 innings. Marwin 0 for 2. One of those groundouts key in the game. 1 and 2. That came in the 2nd inning. Hit what looked like a double play grounder to the shortstop Bogarts, who went to step on the bag at second base and fire onto first. Everything was perfect timing wise with the throw onto first base, but the timing at the bag at second not so good. He let go of the ball before he stepped on the bag, and a review finally turned it the Astros way, and that led to the big inning. That'll do it. A 1-2-3 fifth inning turned in by Craig Breslow. 7-1 Houston. By AT&T Uverse TV. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT. Mobilizing your world. Concourse is here at Fenway Park. It's a great place. They've done a lot of gussying up here in recent years. But it's still got that old flavor. To the bottom of the fifth we go. David Ortiz leads it off and takes a strike. Can Colin McHugh settle into the strike zone? That pitch is 85th on the day. Starting to get in that precarious spot. Shift on for Ortiz, who pops it up on the left side. Matt Dominguez, the only guy over there, so he's going to call it and make the catch, and 1 out.
Not happy with himself. Got himself a pitch. He got extended. Just cut under it a little bit. Not happy with himself. We haven't seen him miss a pitch to hit in this series until right then, I think.
A couple of home runs and a double last night. The dark clouds are starting to come our way.
No.
It's all about Jeff Blum and been kind of toying with those clouds as McHugh finds the strike zone. Trying to get through this fifth, at least make it official. 7-1 Houston. Yoenis Cespedes at the plate. He singled in 2 at bats. And now 0-2 the count. The shift on the other way now. 3 infielders on the left side. And down on strike, Cespedes. Good breaking ball for the strikeout. 5 strikeouts now for Colin McHugh.
RBI baseball is back with all 30 major league teams and 2014 players. Get the retro 2-button style baseball game you've been missing. Visit RBIGame.com for more details and download today on your console and mobile device.
This is what the strikeout looked like, the over-the-top hammer. And that's official blocking of the baseball by Carlos Corcoran.
Cespedes remembers those MC Hammer days. Back when he was in Oakland, got one right there.
That was the hammer.
Can't touch that.
Can't touch it. Another strike called. Calling pumping strikes. Red Sox taking them.
He took offense to having Folty up in the bullpen.
Probably had good reason for that. Down on strikes, Kelly Johnson. 6 on the afternoon as McHugh picks up a pair in the 5th inning. A 1-2-3 frame, and with it says, I'd like to go more today. 7-1 Houston.
our minor league report brought to you by your local Honda dealer. We're going to take another look at Colin Moran, who's with Corpus Christi Hooks, acquired in that Jared Cozart trade. And he's been on fire in his last 10, batting .359, a couple of homers, 11 RBI. I'd say he's off to a good start with this Astros club, guys.
It's been very impressive for Colin Moran. And a guy that figures to get a look pretty soon, I would think. Maybe next year sometime for the Astros. Left-handed bat that, by all accounts, very impressive on the minor league level.
Yeah, he's getting it done. Good looking swing on that left side. Big tall kid, huh?
Yeah, that would fit in nicely.
Get some leverage and start driving the ball.
Red Sox go to their bullpen once again as they trail 7-1. We go to the 6th inning. Right-hander Stephen Wright comes in. Does he go by Steve or Steven?
I believe it. Well, on our board it says Steven, so I'm going to go with it.
I don't know, but I heard he had a psychic girlfriend, but she left him before they met.
Sorry. He throws a knuckleball, by the way.
Yeah,
folks.
And we saw him earlier
this year.
Trying to
regroup and focus here. There's so many good ones. You got to deliver it like he does.
I'm not even going to try that.
It's a great picture of him on Wikipedia wearing a Red Sox hat, no less. I about fell out laughing looking at that.
The comedian Stephen Wright imposed into the hat and the uniform. Or is that actually him? No, that couldn't be. No. Little blooper, going to drop in left field. Robbie Grossman gets into the act. His first hit of the day. He's 1 for 3. Also has drawn a walk and scored on the slam by Altuve, who will stand in 3 for 3 on the day.
Here's Armako, big hit of the game, and with Altuve coming up, he is the man that delivered it. After the issues the Red Sox were having on defense and the issues with Joe Kelly putting race runners on, Altuve took a shot at the big green monster out there and beat it with his first grand slam of his career.
So Jose Altuve is having himself a day. Three for 3, 172 hits now. And look at that lead, 14-hit lead over Cabrera. Knuckleball's in for a strike. Altuve started the day at 335, I believe, 5 points in front of Robinson Cano. Ground ball left side. That's going to be another knock, as safe into second is Robbie Grossman. 4 for 4 on the day for Jose. Runners at first and second. Nobody out for Chris Carter. Have a day, Jose Altuve.
Altuve's not afraid to be greedy about the hits. Just continues to go out there and see him hit a rocket for a grand slam. Now you just see him kind of weave one through the infield. He's absolutely doing it all.
Chris Carter's 0 for 3 on the day as he takes a strike. This is the third 4-hit game of the season for Jose Altuve. He had a couple of those back in June, the 17th and the 27th. One at Washington, one at home against the Tigers. Carter hits it in the air right field, fairly deep. Jogging back and under now on the warning track is Nava. Runners tag, moving into third is Grossman. Altuve thinks better of it. So 3 4-hit days on the year. I can't even count up the 3-hit days.
It's a lot of numbers. '17 3-hit games. How about that?
3 4-hit games and 17 3-hit games. Man, that just leaves you with your mouth open.
Silly numbers.
It's his 53rd multi-hit game.
Good grief. Just rubbing it in now.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Dexter Fowler's 2 for 2 with a walk, including his 7th home run of the year, a solo job in the 3rd inning, an impressive shot over the Astros bullpen to the seats. '53 multi-hit games for Altuve. Wright misses with the knuckleball. Here in the 6th inning, leadoff single Robbie Grossman, a little flare into left field. Little ground ball by Altuve on the left side turns into a hit. And now a looper down the right side, just fouled down the line.
Good play by Cindy Lynn down there.
Every one of these ball girls in Boston has that Lynn.
They do.
What's the deal there? Everyone. That's three, maybe 4. That
you've been keeping track.
Yeah, I have been.
I appreciate that, Ash.
I
got to give them the attention they're due.
You know, I'm thoroughly impressed with your abilities. Pitch is popped foul. Matthew McConaughey calling down the left side.
Oh, Julia
unable to make the play.
How did McConaughey not go over there and rescue Julia from that foul ball?
Wow.
She's okay. She's got it.
Nice job, Julia.
How did she not give that ball to Matthew? Come on. You've got to toss that to the superstar. Oh, man, that's coming crazy close.
That is.
Hey-oh. If you haven't met Will Middlebrooks yet, she has.
I think Julia lost that in the sun. She turned her eyes right at the last moment.
Oh, there's rain clouds above. You can see that great.
Did he try to make that play at all, or did he shy away?
He can't get out of the seat because he's wearing a fanny pack.
Well, you're just making that up. Knuckleball got him. Down on strikes is Fowler. Second out here in the 6th inning. It'll bring up John Singleton.
Guys, he's really wearing a fanny pack. It's not just me that wears fanny packs. Matthew McConaughey. I wish you would stand up. Stand up. Stand up, Matthew. You can do it.
He doesn't listen to you very well.
It's almost like a camo looking.
Go over and just talk with him.
Stylish.
Can you get an interview with him?
Can you explain that I'm concerned about the fact he's wearing a fanny pack?
Julia, just step over there and say you'd like to have a couple of words with him.
Now.
So demanding.
Knuckleball in for a strike on Singleton.
And would my first question be, what's in your fanny pack?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. You might get arrested for that one.
Ow, I think that ball hit my leg, guys.
You think?
Now feeling it.
Another swing and a miss on the knuckleball. 0-2 the count.
Put a glove on that knee.
She's actually hurting.
I know, I feel it now. The adrenaline wore off.
You had adrenaline on a pop fly.
Well, okay, if you saw how close the quarters are in here, I'm surrounded by things and people. There's not exactly anywhere for me to go.
Got nowhere to run.
So it's just.
We've got the same story up here. We're surrounded by things and people. As Singleton goes down on strikes, couple of punch-outs in the inning for Stephen Wright as he jogs it off. Couple of hits as the Astros leave a pair. between the two clubs. Our Geico quote of the day is from Wade Boggs. A positive attitude causes a chain reaction of positive thoughts, events, and outcomes. It's a catalyst, and it sparks extraordinary results. Well, apparently it did, as Wade Boggs had an extraordinary career.
Sure did. 3,000 hit was a home run, I think, with Tampa Bay double rays at the time.
3,010 career hits. And I had some amazing numbers of like a full season popping out 3 times. You know, just some crazy stuff. Didn't strike out. Colin McHugh out for the 6th inning. And falls behind 2-0 on Xander Bogaerts. 7-1 Houston. We've seen a grand slam from Jose Altuve. We've seen 4 hits from Jose. And now 3-0 the count. We've seen Dexter Fowler slam his 7th home run. And now Colin McHugh trying to get through 6 today anyway. Has a 3-1 count. Bogaerts has struck out and grounded out. McHugh with 6 punch-outs on the day. And now the leadoff walk. But Collins had his issues. That's his 3rd walk of the day.
Talk about some of the numbers Wade Boggs put up while he was here in Boston. He spent 11 seasons with Boston. .338 average, 12-time All-Star. 5 AL batting titles. 2 Gold Gloves with that power stance at third base.
What's he doing there?
I think he's looking to put a couple of kids in a headlock. I think I saw Sparky put that move on you earlier in the day here up in the booth.
Who came out on top?
Oh, you did. You took him down.
1 ball and no strikes. Close pitch on Middlebrooks. And now a strike. Middlebrooks a couple of hits today. 2 for 2, hitting .191. Has not been a season to remember for Will. Boy, that's close and misses. Tough strike zone this afternoon. Pat Holberg behind the plate. We have seen much more favorable zones here in the series. And now 3-1.
Like that command is eluding Colin McHugh again here in the 6th. Did a great job last inning, breezing through that 5th inning.
Yeah, just 8 pitches in that 1-2-3 5th inning. And that's what's enabled him to work into the 6th. Ground ball right side. Singleton will get an out at second. And now not in time at first base. McHugh covering. Play set up a little bit slowly. Some extra steps in there from John Singleton. But they get the lead out. Out number 1, Middlebrooks aboard on the fielder's choice.
Kind of a squibber. Good pickup by John. Good feed. It's always tough as a shortstop. You want to turn that double play, but when you look up and you see a pitcher over there, you've got to make a perfect throw.
I'll bring up the 8-hitter Jackie Bradley Jr. He also, like Middlebrooks, is 2 for 2 on the day. Middlebrooks held on at first base by Singleton as the first offering misses. Strange day for Colin. Moments where he looks very sharp, and others where the command, as Blummer says, eludes, and it's 2-0. Now timeout called. Corpy's going to go out to the mound.
Got Fultonevich and looks like Tony Sipp out there in the Astros bullpen getting loose. Oh boy, those Ashbys are rolling in. I mean, clouds.
Yeah, be that way. Starting to darken up here at Fenway Park. And if you look way off down the left field side, there are some massive, fluffy-looking clouds down that way. I don't know if they're rain clouds.
Standard cumulonimbus.
Is that what it is?
Yep.
Okay. But they're not rain clouds.
No, the barometer's holding steady.
3-0.
If that starts to rise, watch out.
Yeah, we were told early on there was rain in the forecast. Then we were told here in the booth that we were free and clear, but not so sure right now.
4-pitch walk to Jackie Bradley Jr.
A couple of walks in the inning. 4 on the afternoon now for Colin McHugh. He's going to have to work some magic here. The catcher, Dan Butler, will stand in 0 for 2. And 0 for the major leagues.
There you get a look at Tony Sipp on the left. Mike Oltanevich on the right.
And now it's Brent Strom's time to come out to the mound after Corpy's already been out there.
Strolling Strom.
Wait in the dugout and then take the slow stride to the hill. Colin knows what this is all about. He's a very bright guy. This is about buying time because you don't have guys throwing in the bullpen early enough. So and these are, for me, some areas that you can really clean up in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious, and it is part of the game. There are situations that kind of speed up, and you may need to get those guys loose in the bullpen, but this is a consistent effort by the Houston Astros to make sure that everybody they have up in the bullpen is loose.
Yeah, I was talking with an unnamed coach the other day, and he agreed with me and said it well before I did, that it's about lack of preparation a lot of times in that need to send guys out and kill time on the mound. First pitch a ball. It's 1-0 on Butler. Oh for 2 on the day, 0 for 9 on the season, and career in the big leagues. And now 1-1. That little trusty cutter. Boy, how Colin could use a ground ball to an infielder. The Astros have not turned a double play this afternoon. Only 1 on the day. That turned in the first inning by the Red Sox. Ground ball to third. Dominguez, Altuve, and Singleton. And there's your double play. Colin McHugh gets out of the 6th. Despite a couple of walks, it's 7-1. Astros on top.
Ryan dual bobblehead courtesy of Houston Methodist on August 30th when the Astros take on their in-state rival, the Rangers. Visit Astros.com for more details and come early to get your Nolan and Reed Ryan bobblehead, guys.
Thank you, Julia. So have you gone over and talked to Mr. McConaughey?
He's actually been really busy signing autographs the entire game. You got to feel for him.
Yeah.
He has. It's been really cool because I can hear him sometimes, and he's teaching his son the game, which is really cool.
You've been listening in, is what you're saying.
Well, it gets quiet.
Yeah.
And then I can hear what people are saying around me.
Okay, we'll keep it up and let us know what does get said over the course of the game.
I think, I'm not going to, throw anything out there, but, Nesson, the Boston Red Sox girl, got an interview.
Here's a ground ball to short hit by Carlos Corporon. Sorry to mess up the TMZ conversation with a little baseball here, out number one.
And I think Julie has the perfect open. She went to UT. Didn't McConaughey go to UT?
I think it's all right there. It's waiting to be had. And
I'll be down there in 5 minutes. I'll get this thing going.
Some people talk about intrepid reporters. We just have a timid reporter. That's all.
I mean, you're so close.
Yeah.
It's almost too close. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I think he's been wondering why you haven't come over and chatted.
I doubt that.
Hello, Matthew.
Mark Krause at the plate. 1 for 2 with a walk. Had a single in that 6-run second inning. And if you're just joining in, shame on you, number one. And number two, Jose Altuve had a grand slam, first of his career. He assaulted the green monster. The 1-1 lined into right field. Mark Krause can hit himself some knuckleball. We have seen him do it before.
Might be up around 200, but remember what he did to R.A. Dickey up in Toronto? Yeah, does like that knuckleball.
Krause is 2 for 3. He's at first base for Matt Dominguez. He stays on that pitch very well.
That was real nice. That was a good replay, watching his head stay down on that pitch.
Matty D, a sac fly. 0 for 2 otherwise. That produced his 51st RBI of the year. That was the second Houston run in that 6-run second. And it looked like a pretty nice run to get at the time. 2-0 Houston. But before it was all said and done, 6 runs in that inning. Ground ball back to the mound. Wright will get one at second. Bogart's on to first. And the double play. Second turn by the Red Sox on the day as they get through the 7th with just 3 hitters.
challenge. A lot of the Astros taking part in it. Jose Altuve, Carlos Corporon, George Springer, so many. Even GM Jeff Luhnow, a lot of it's taken part here in the past few days at Fenway Park. But our own Jeff Blum was challenged by Kevin Eschenfelder a couple days ago, and he came through.
I've accepted your challenge, Kevin Eschenfelder, and I'm going to do a little something different. I'm going to have a coast-to-coast challenge for the ALS awareness, and it's going to come from my daughters, Mia, Ava, Audrey, and Kayla. Miss you, girls. Let me have it. That's a wake-up call right there. All right, I'm going to send it back to my CSN family, and I'm going to let Mike Stanton try this challenge. Can't even think straight. I'm so cold right now. Layla, you're on it. And, of course, I messed up my hair, so I expect Corey Heppola to mess up his hair with this challenge. Good luck.
Want to say nice work, Blummer. Very nice work. How cold was that water?
It was extremely cold. I was prepared, but not prepared well enough because it kind of got to me. I literally lost my breath trying to say that stuff afterwards. I had to regroup for a little bit, but it was good. And I retweeted Corey Heppola, already put it on Instagram. He did it, messed up his loaf. I appreciate the effort, and I expect the others to work just as hard to complete the challenge.
Well, I was impressed with your loaf, as you put it. It came bouncing right back.
It's been under a lot of duress for many years.
You haven't even gone to the 30-weight oil on the rest of the day.
I'm staying at a lower gauge these days. Yeah, trying to hold on a little bit, but yeah, it was a good time.
Little 1040 to make it work. We back talking about Matthew McConaughey? There he is.
We've got proof. Setting a bad example for his son with the fanny pack. That's a serious fanny pack, though. I mean, if anybody's going to pull it off, it's going to be that guy. He can't do anything wrong, can he?
I don't think so. Jake Marisnick takes over in right field defensively. Robbie Grossman will move on to left field. I believe that's Robbie in left. With everybody wearing the pants the same way, it's kind of hard to pick some guys out. But, yes, Robbie moves from right to left. So Marisnick in right. As Tony Sipp comes on now to pitch. Colin McHugh, 6 innings. Effective when it was all said and done.
Got to say a special thank you to my daughters for helping me out in that challenge. I wish I could have been home and had them dump that water on me a little more personally, but worked out pretty good. Thanks, girls.
Yeah, that's nice. Congrats. Tony Sipp set to work at top of the order. Brock Holt stands in and takes a leadoff strike. Holt, Nava, and Ortiz. Brock Holt having another nice day. A single, a walk, and a strikeout in 3 plate appearances. The strikeout was a big one in the 4th. First couple of hitters in that inning reached with base hits. Then Dan Butler popped out before the strikeout of Holt, and that set up the chance for Colin McHugh to get out of the inning. That was the inning that saw warming up for the Astros in their bullpen. As the Astros had the 7-1 lead, it seemed a little curious at the time and made us wonder if maybe the blister was going on again for McHugh. But as he went through 6 innings, I think gratefully we can say, hopefully again, that that's not the case.
Yeah, hopefully it was just something other than that, maybe just a command issue that he can correct. But he still pitched extremely well getting through this game. But yeah, there was a big strike out of Brock Holt.
Line shot right at Singleton. So Holt's done it before in the series, lining out to Singleton. This one more right at him. First out here in the 7th inning.
Yeah, he had to elevate on the one before, but this one held his ground. Nice grab on this bullet.
This kid can swing the bat. As can this one, especially from the left side. Daniel Nava. He has been very challenged as a right-hand hitter, and that's how he'll stand in now against Tony Sipp. One out here in the 7th. The Astros with 10 hits to go with their 7 runs. A couple of long balls, and those always play well. And one of those with the bases juiced, Jose Altuve has hit the grand slam. 4th slam of the year for the Astros. A ball and a strike for Sipp. Got some games going on in Major League Baseball. The Giants are hosting Philadelphia. They're scoreless in the first inning. The White Sox are in the 6th inning hosting Toronto. 6-5 Sox on top. And now 2-1 that count. Drew Hutchison for the Blue Jays against Scott Carroll of the White Sox. White Sox 9.5 games back of Kansas City. Royals with a half-game lead over Detroit. 2-2. David Ortiz waits on deck. Melky Cabrera, by the way, has 2 hits in that game for the Blue Jays. He is one of the guys chasing Jose Altuve, who again has 4 hits of his own today. Altuve is starting to just leave guys in the dust.
He hasn't taken a breather all year. Just pedal to the metal and keeps going.
2-2 pitch. He's reaching out and spoiling his Nava.
Tony Sipp could use some fashion advice with the high socks that they're trying to pull off here for Gordy McKenzie. Matty D making it happen. It's not an easy thing to do. Hunter Pence is one guy I played with that had him up constantly, and he had to have a pair of pants cut specially.
Of course, Altuve wears them that way, so he's got them all cut and set for that.
Those would be a pair of sliding shorts for some guys.
Down on strikes, Nava. Sipp gets the punch out. Second out in the 7th inning, and it brings up David Ortiz with the bases empty.
Astros, Dynamo, Rockets, and more. We've got all your Houston sports news covered with Sportsnet Central weeknights at 6, 10, and midnight only on Comcast Sportsnet.
Quiet day for David Ortiz. He's 0 for 2. Unless, of course, you're listening closely on microphones down on the field. Ortiz has drawn a walk. 28 bombs hit numbers 27 and 28 last night. Held nothing back on that swing. And by the way, with the 4 hits today, Altuve now hitting .340 on the money. On base percentage of .375. Because I guess if you're going to hit .340, that on base percentage is going to be in good shape.
Yeah.
Half swing going through his Ortiz, and the count at 0-2. Wind it up. What was that? Looks back out at Tony Sipp. Sipp brings the 0-2 pitch.
That might have been what he was looking for. He was looking for the wrinkle, and it stayed straight. That check swing before that pitch.
By the way, with Altuve's .375 on base percentage, there is not a member of the Red Sox lineup here today who has an on base percentage that high. Now, this is the Sunday lineup for the Red Sox, but kind of gives you an idea of what's going on for Jose. Of course, Pedroia and Napoli are not in the lineup today. Colin McHugh started 6 innings, 7 hits and an earned run, 4 walks. Very unusual there, but 6 strikeouts as the pitch is fouled off left side. Colin needed 109 pitches to get through those 6 innings. And even with the 10 strikeouts per 9 innings that he's had over the course of the year, that pitch count would be a little bit extreme for Colin.
There's the issues I'm talking about. That's what I'm concerned about with right now, Ash.
And well, you
what's
should
going
be.
on with the pantalones?
It's not working at all.
Some droopy drawers.
1-2. Corpy doing a nice job. I think Sip is in need of a personal assistant there.
Is there a tailor in the house? And that's the problem. If you're a guy that wears your pants down all the time and then you're asked to pull them up, you got all kinds of issues.
Well, you got to go above the knee, I think. Tucking the band anyway, and then just kind of let it happen.
It's uncomfortable.
That is. I don't know if you saw Dave Tremblay before the game, the group shot. His were looking a little unusual. 2-2 pitch. Right on the hands, grounded foul.
You think Tremblay had it figured out by now? He's been putting on a uniform for years.
Let's see the pantalones there.
Sneak down there and get him. He's hiding them.
Oh, he is. He's cheating. That's not right. Tony Sip will slow it down when he gets on the hill, that's for certain. But he has been very effective this year. He brings the 2-2. Again on the hands. Towering drive to right field. Marisnick has a beat on it. He'll make the play. A 1-2-3 7th for Tony Sip. We go to the 8th. 7-1 Houston. Astros leave Fenway and head to the Big Apple for a 3-game set against Derek Jeter, Mark Teixeira, and the New York Yankees. Pre-game live starts Tuesday night at 5:30 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet.
Here's the upcoming schedule presented by Progressive. We are done here in Boston. It's been a good 4-game series. We're going to take a nice quick flight south of here and head to New York for that day off on Monday before heading into a 3-game set with those New York Yankees. Before heading back home, heading to Cleveland. I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to go home yet. Big weekend series against the Indians, who are playing pretty well, before heading back into the AL West at home at Minute Maid Park. A lot of games on the road, a lot of games at home, a lot of games in a row. It's going to be a tough test for these Houston Astros. A lot of days off coming up in September, though.
But you're saying we're done here today?
Not yet. We're working on it.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. We've got 2 innings to play.
I may have checked out, but you're still here.
Marwin Gonzalez hasn't checked out. He'll lead it off, followed by Robbie Grossman and Jose Altuve. Marwin 0 for 3 on the day, though. That batting average down to 266. He takes a strike. Knuckleballer Stephen Wright on the hill. swings the fastball, grounded on the backhand side for Holt. He'll make the play, and out number 1. And let's check in with Julia again.
Hey guys, I did it. I'm over here with Matthew McConaughey.
Way to go.
I know, so much pressure from Twitter, you guys. But he's an Astros fan, so of course we had to say hello and ask you what you happen to be in town when this all worked out perfectly for you.
Texas, yeah. I'm up here working in Worcester, Mass. We're making a film. We've been here about 3 weeks. Got 3 weeks left. And my son's we got to get him back home next week to start school, so I wanted to get him to Fenway. And I looked at the schedule and who's in town? Houston Astros. So perfect.
But I've been watching you guys, not to sound creepy, but it sounds like you're teaching him a thing or two about baseball.
What's the count, Levi?
About what?
There we go. Anyway, yeah, we think in the first 3 innings we got to see Grand Slam. We got to see Hot Box, Man in a Rundown, and now we got to see a call reversed on instant replay, which I've never seen live before, but now he gets to see it as first.
It's a great game for him to come to. Okay, you're wearing a fanny pack too. And people didn't believe me that these were coming back in style. You're saying they never left.
I'm not afraid of the fanny pack. Instead of stuffing your pockets, you got to kind of put it on the side to make it look a little not as nerdy, but still, practicality wins out. I got so much gear in here that I don't want in my pockets. I'm not afraid of the fanny pack.
That's awesome.
I mean, this is the best interview ever because it's now I can go on with my life and everyone could stop making fun of me for wearing the fanny pack because Matthew McConaughey said it was cool, right?
You know what? How many times you're around somewhere and they're like, oh, you know what? I forgot my so-and-so. I got to go back to the car. And you're like, I got mine right here.
I got it. Well, he hasn't seen my Texas flag fanny pack, which I'm sure you'd be a big fan of.
That sounds cool. It's the one you wear, right? Keep wearing it. Keep wearing it. They'll come back. They're on the way back. Some decade from now.
Some decade. Well, you said you're enjoying the game, obviously, with all the things that are going on. Are you enjoying what the Houston Astros are doing as far as moving forward and rebuilding?
Yeah, it's exciting time, man. I mean, like you said, the last couple of years have been really tough, but it's been, hey, we're going to rebuild. No one was faking that. So now you're in, year 3 of it, and it's a pretty exciting young team. Like you said, you've already matched your win totals this year. Looks like you're on the way forward,
And baseball in Texas is big. You love your football. Yeah. Baseball can be big in Texas, right?
Baseball's huge in Texas, and we're a women's school, University of Texas. Baseball is huge there. We've gotten him out to a couple of games at Dish Fall. We've been to some Ranger games where they work with our foundation up in Dallas. And I was in the Astrodome, and then I've been in Minute Maid. But I haven't been back to see the Astros play at home in the last few years. But, look, he's just started playing football, soccer, baseball, and his favorite game right now is baseball, which makes Popeye happy.
Thank you. Enjoy the game. It's Sweet Caroline time. I know you want to sing. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Made it out of the big thicket, and here we are in Boston.
7-1 Astros. face off against in-state rivals, the Rangers, in a 4-game series against. This is August 28th to 31st at Minute Maid Park. For tickets, call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com. It was good to hear from fellow Texan Matthew McConaughey, and I did it.
You did.
Didn't think I would.
Way to go. That was strong.
That went very well.
So how did you approach him?
Well, the UT helped going to the same school, but also he's from Longview, Texas, and I went to Kilgore College. I know you guys probably don't know where that is, but it's 10 miles from Longview, so
what'd you do?
We had all kinds of connections.
Walk up talking about, I went to Kilgore and UT and all that kind of thing?
No, that was the icebreaker.
Wait. You're welcome, Julia.
Mike Foltynewicz on, by the way, gets a ground ball on his first pitch and an out. And that's nice to see here in the 8th inning. Anyway, we're proud of you, Julia. That was great.
That was good.
Thank you. No, obviously he's a Houston Astros fan, so I told him I was at the Houston broadcast, and he had no problem.
Yeah, it looked like you had no problem. That's terrific. She is now one of the worldwide famed interviewers, broadcasters, Julia Morales. Kelly Johnson at the plate, 0 for 3, couple of strikeouts.
Yeah, that's a good resume builder right
good.
there.
Yeah. And 2-0. Mike Foltynewicz trying to hold it right here in the 8th inning. Astros trying to even this series at 2 games apiece. And a strike at the bottom of the knees. Johnson hitting .211 on his year. Lines one to right field. Even with the shift on, he finds a spot. 1 out single for Johnson brings up Xander Bogaerts. Bogaerts on the day is 0 for 2 with a walk. Changeup, and that's starting to look like a pretty filthy weapon for Folty.
Yeah, when you're looking for 100 miles an hour and a guy can pull a string like that. Nice pitch. Comes right back with the change.
Ball and a strike. Of course, Foltynewicz, that young, big-time arm the Astros are hoping can get into place and be a key on this team, whether it's as a starter or a back end of the bullpen guy. He's had his struggles in brief outings in the big leagues. This just his 6th game for Houston, and comes in with an ERA at 7.71. Sinking, darting fastball. Folty brings the 2-2, and it's popped up shallow in right field. Marisnick with the play, and 2 down. It'll bring up third baseman Will Middlebrooks. Middlebrooks has a couple of hits and 3 at bats. A couple of years ago, the Red Sox brought up Middlebrooks. He tore it up when he showed up on the scene. They thought they had their guy, but been a little iffy since. Fastball on the hands, hit on the ground at third base. Couple of hops, and they'll get the force at second. Dominguez to Altuve. That does it for the Red Sox. A nice inning in the 8th for Mike Foltynewicz.
As promised earlier in the game, we have the AT&T fan photo of the game. Today it's going to be Jordan, Gracie, and Jill rooting for the Astros and looking forward to seeing them beat the Yankees in New York City. We will see you there. Tweet your photo to hashtag CSNHFanPhoto for a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T. Look at that pup.
Very darling. You gotta love the dogs anyway. Chet Qualls celebrating a birthday today. Born in 1978. Dustin Pedroia's birthday as well, huh?
Oh, didn't get to play on his birthday. Dustin Pedroia doesn't. How about on the very bottom? Happy belated birthday to one of our, I'm just kidding, our only director, Paul Bykowski.
We move to the 9th inning. 7-1 Houston lead. Not hurt at all by a 6-run second for the Astros. Highlighted on the grand slam by Jose Altuve, the first of his career. And the first of hopefully many more to come. Chris Carter has had a long day. He's 0 for 4. Hits one to third on a big hop. Middlebrooks with the play. And out number 1 here in the 9th. That'll bring up Dexter Fowler. Dexter had hits in his first 2 at-bats. One of those a home run, his 7th of the year. That came in the 3rd. He's also walked and struck out. Nice to have Dexter back in the lineup. Hitting .278 on the year. Now I'll get George Springer back in there and see what this thing looks like, kind of full force at some point in September.
I like that idea.
Tapper is foul.
That could be fun to watch.
Yeah,
Especially
I think
with
so.
Carter swinging the bat the way he is right now.
Amen.
Add him to that list.
Yeah, Carter's a huge difference maker. But we haven't watched now George Springer for some time. Just better part of a month.
Yeah. Again, you want those young guys to make sure they're 100% before they come back. There's really no reason to run him out there and try and make the injury worse than it is right now.
It's a filthy looking knuckleball that Stephen Wright possesses. There's George. You know, he's always all smiles, but we know he wants to get back in there. Hanging with the right guy, that's for sure. 7 strikeouts of Houston hitters. 2 down here in the 9th inning. It brings up John Singleton. Looking for his first knock. He's walked twice and struck out twice.
Yeah, that knuckleball is dancing like crazy.
A lot of times you'll get on television a knuckleball that kind of looks like a curveball. That's not the great one.
Oh,
here's
man.
a drive to right field. John Singleton has just launched one way back into the seats beyond the bullpen for John Singleton. That's number 11 on the year and RBI number 37. 8-1 Astros on top.
That's another bat that the Astros are counting on here in the future of doing things like that. Just needed the pitch to slow down a little bit and move a little bit more in order to square it up. Ball was crushed.
3rd home run of the afternoon for the Stros.
My goodness, that ball was pummeled.
Yeah, Big John knew he had this one right away.
So that's what you were talking about, Big Poppy.
That's right there where Ted Williams would hit him when he'd miss him.
Yeah, those were mistakes by Ted.
Carlos Corporon 1 for 3. Had a hit way back in the 2nd inning.
Whoa. That thing is dancing.
Yeah. No doubt.
How about the catcher doing a pretty good job back there, too? We haven't seen too many skate by.
Quite smooth.
Yeah, there's Ted, the seat that Ted Williams hit. I'm sure they're probably going to zoom out and give you an idea how far away that thing is. You're not going to believe it. Keep going.
Yeah, but that was the live ball era. Little flare foul.
It is 502 feet from home plate to that seat. I've got golf clubs that can do that. I don't have a baseball bat that could do it.
You're going to have to prove that tomorrow.
I've got the distance. I'm not saying I'd hit the seat. There's Zach. Still at the ball game, enjoying it.
He got the Dexter Fowler home run ball.
Yeah.
Well, at least it hit him on the head.
How about the location of his seat? He's got his feet on Ted Williams' seat.
It's just not right.
Pretty cool.
Pitch popped up on the left side. And that's just out of the reach of the catcher, Butler. The Astros 6 in the second, 1 in the third, 1 in the ninth. Home runs in each of those scoring innings. And the Astros continue to be one of the big home run hitting clubs. By the way, George Springer last played on July 19th. Seems longer ago than that. Of course, he had missed a week between the 13th and the 18th, a part of a week, and then played a couple of games and was gone again. So get back, George, we miss you. High chopper behind the mound, right with the play. Quickly on to first as he gets the final out of the ninth inning, but the Astros put another run on the board on the bomb by John Singleton, number 11 in his career. So 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. 8-1, Astros lead over the Boston Red Sox. Final meeting of the year between the two ball clubs. The Astros with 3 home runs, Jose Altuve a grand slam, and George Springer. We were just talking about him and missing him.
Yeah, with good reason. You get a chance to see some of the highlights, and some of the things we do miss seeing is George Springer going out there and taking that big, healthy hack out on the field, doing some damage. So much pop to all fields. Just an electric guy that goes out there and plays hard every day.
Well, he's got some of the most amazing raw power of anybody I've seen.
In that series in Kansas City, it was on full display, too. There were balls that he was hitting. That ball shouldn't have gotten out. And then he had a ball, remember the line drive that he hit to dead center field, I believe it was, just on a line. Yeah.
Well, he hit 2 doubles in that ball game, as I recall. That I think he had 4 hits on the night.
Yeah.
2 doubles and a home run. The home run was the least hit ball of the bunch.
Well, it was, remember that base hit to left field on a hanging breaking ball?
Yeah.
It was just hung out on a line. If he got that thing elevated, it would have gone a long ways.
Yeah, he's very special, and we can't wait to get him back. Astros trying to pick up a win there. Second here in the series. They're third on the year against the Red Sox. 7 games overall, so the Red Sox have won 4 of the first 6. Jackie Bradley Jr. leads it off. He's 2 for 2 with a walk.
Get a look at Chad Paul's birthday boy going out there to pitch. Not a safe situation, but day off tomorrow. Go out there and get some work in.
And falls behind 2-0. Falls finds the strike zone. Bradley, Butler, and Holt due up here in the inning. Two and two now. It's been Colin McHugh, Tony Sipp, Mike Fultonevich, and now Chad Qualls. 4 pitchers for Houston. Colin McHugh stands to win it. Kelly, Breslow, and Wright for the Red Sox. Stephen Wright, very impressive in his 4 innings. Did give up the home run to Singleton, and it was a legit bomb, but good looking knuckleball.
Real good looking.
Just reaching out and spoiling is Bradley. And again, the Astros trying to win their 52nd on the year, and that's meaningful because it's 1 more than they picked up last year. And to the ball club, every win means something at this point. Fly ball to center field. Fowler will head back right at the edge of the warning track. Make the catch. Out number 1.
Get a look at the Astros-Yankees series. This is how it's going to line up. Day off on Monday, we talked about. Tuesday, Brett Oberholzer is going to lead that series off, going up against Chris Capuano, a couple of lefties. Scott Feldman, Michael Pineda, Dallas Keuchel, Brandon McCarthy. Those are some pretty good matchups right there.
Yeah.
That should be a fun series.
Michael Pineda's a guy that could have helped the Yankees so much each of the last couple of years. Walls finds the strike zone again. 0-1 on Dan Butler, the catcher. And we've mentioned it, still looking for that first major league hit. 0 for 3 on his day. The Red Sox have 8 hits, the Astros 11. But it's been all Houston this afternoon. Colin McHugh had to extricate himself from some tough innings, but he got it done as the chopper goes to third. Matt Dominguez with the play, and out number 2.
Yeah, there was some serious maneuvering going on for Colin McHugh today. Didn't have his electric stuff and didn't have that pinpoint command that we're used to seeing. Still made pitches when he had to. Gets that quality start. Yeah, a little shocking to see those 4 walks in that line for him. His ERA is at a flat 3.
Nice to see for Colin. And again, the wins have been tough to come by, but chance to pick up a W today. Brock Holt is the man that it comes down to. A guy who has swung the bat just so well against Houston. 1 for 3 on the day. He's also walked and scored a run. Astros got him last time in the 7th inning as he hit a bolt on a line right at Singleton. Two 2-0 the count. Four for 5 afternoon for Jose Altuve. As the Red Sox got him in that last at bat, the batting average dipped under 340. He's at 339. And easily leading the league and the major leagues for that matter. Strike at the knees. Chris Carter with a long day, 0 for 5. But those are okay when you win.
Well, it's okay when he's not punching out, too. That's the one thing I keep looking at. He actually hit a bullet his second at bat, hit the ball hard, but no punch outs.
3-1 the count. Dexter Fowler had a couple of hits, as did Mark Krause, who again showed that he can hit the knuckleball. You know, you would think if you're handling the knuckleball, anything off speed would be right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, I mean, you got to stay back, you got to wait for that break and then kill it.
Line shot on a hop, glove by Singleton. He goes to the bag, and what a play to end this one on. Great play, John Singleton. Qualls comes on, a 1-2-3 ninth inning. The Astros have themselves a very nice day, and Jose Altuve, again, 4 knocks and a grand slam as the Astros put away the Red Sox in the final meeting of the year between these two ball clubs. And watch this gem with the glove.
Some good things happening today. John Singleton making a great play after hitting that bomb. Good things happening for the Houston Astros, taking advantage of some opportunities early on here, but one thing is for sure, after this great play from John Singleton, it's going to be a happy flight.
The Astros win their third on the year against Boston. 8-1 the final from Fenway.